أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه من سن بسنة من الدين أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه اللهم إنا نسألك خير ما سألك عبدك ورسولك نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من شر ما استعاذ بك عبدك ورسولك نبيك محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. We continue in our daily journey of the Quran. Yesterday we finished with Surah Luqman, Surah 31. Inshallah, today we'll start with Surah Hamim Sajdah, or Surah Sajdah, which means Surah of prostration. It's a Makki surah and refers more to Iman and Taqwa and Akhirah and Jannah and Jahannam, and especially about Sajdah. Allah mentions here that those people who love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they love to do sujood and Sajdah. That is why the surah is named Sajdah. It's the 32nd surah in the Quran. Inshallah, we'll start. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alif Lam Mim. Alif Lam Mim, the broken letters. No one knows the meaning except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2. Tanzil kitab la rayba fi min rabbil alameen. Verily, this is a book is a tanzil. It's a revelation from the Lord of the worlds, Rabbil Alameen. Referring to the Quran, one of the names of the Quran is Tanzil. Tanzil means that it is revealed in gradual stages. Anzala means all at one time. Like Allah says, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. That is Anzala or Nazala is in one shot, in one time altogether. And Tanzil means in gradual stages. As you know, the Quran was revealed over 23 years of time. Number 3, Surah Sajdah. Am yaquluna iftarah. They say, is it that they say that this is an invented, meaning Quran is an invented book by Muhammad sallam, بل هو الحق من ربك لتنذر قوما ما آتاهم من نذير من قبلك لعلهم يهتدون. No, but rather it is the truth from your Lord, that you may warn the people to whom no warner has come before, so you perhaps be guided. No warner came before the Arabs because before Muhammad sallam, there was no prophet that came to the Arab society. And that is why Allah is saying, مَا آتَاهُم مِّن نَذِيرٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ. Before you, O Muhammad sallam, no warner came to them, except for Ismail al-Islam, who that was way, way back. So the Arabs were not used to it. If you remember, we mentioned this previously in Surah Furqan and other places, that the Arabs were not used to having a prophet, and that's why one of the philosophy that amongst the Quraysh Arabs had, that prophets come in Jews and Christians, Ahl Kitab. Where did we end up with this prophet? And so that's why they used to call he's a madman, he's a magician, a sorcerer, a liar, a poet. All these accusations they hurled against him. Verse number 4, Surah Sajdah, Surah 32. Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal arda wa ma baynahuma fi sittati ayyamin thumma istawa al-arsh ma lakum min dunihi min wali wa la shafi' afala tatadhakkarun. Again, this ayah is similar to what has been repeated many times in previous surahs, that Allah says He created the heavens and the earth in 6 days and then rose over the throne. And you don't have anyone besides Him that is your protector and your intercessor. Do you not then ponder and think and remember? Verse number 5, Surah Sajdah. يُدَبِّرُ الْأَمْرَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ إِلَى الْأَرْضِ ثُمَّ يَعْرُجُ إِلَيْهِ فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُّونَ. He is the one who arranges all the matters. Dabbara yudabbiru means to arrange, to sort out, to organize, to manage, supervise. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that He is the one who is managing this whole world, this whole universe. He is the one who is supervising it and monitoring it and making everything in a perfect symmetry. And everything goes up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَعْرُجُ إِلَيْهِ فِي يَوْمٍ كَانَ مِقْدَارُهُ أَلْفَ سَنَةٍ مِمَّا تَعُدُّونَ. And the extent of one day with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is like 1,000 years for us here on earth. So there's one day with Allah is 1,000 years of us human beings here on earth. That is a ratio that Allah is giving us in this ayah. Number 6, Surah Sajdah. ذَلِكَ عَلِمُ الْغَيْبِ وَالشَّهَادَةِ الْعَزِيزُ الرَّحِيمُ. That is the knower of the unseen and witness, the exalted in mind, the merciful. Allah's sifat being described here. الذي أحسن كل شيء خلق. He is the one who perfected everything in this creation. وبدأ خلق الإنسان من طين. And He started the creation of insan with teen, with clay. That is a mixture of dust and water. Number 8, ثم جعله نسله من سلالة من ماء مهين. Then he made his generations, his progeny, his offspring of the insan, of Bani Adam, from the extract of a fluid, a liquid, which we know is the male fluid that is the origination from it. Number 9, ثم سواه ونفخ فيه من روحه وجعل لكم السمع والأبصار والأفئدة قليلا ما تشكرون. Then he proportioned you in the womb of the mother and fetus, and he breathed into you, into the fetus, the spirit, the soul, and then he made for you hearing and seeing and hearts. Very little is you that you give thanks to Allah. قليلا ما تشكرون. Very few of you give true thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 10, Surah Sajdah, وَقَالُوا أَإِذَا ضَلَلْنَا فِي الْأَرْضِ أَإِنَّا لَفِي خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ بَلْ هُمْ بِلِقَاءِ رَبِّهِمْ كَافِرُونَ. And they say, when we are lost within the earth, will we indeed be recreated in a new creation? Rather, they are in the matter of the meeting with their Lord, disbelievers. Number 11, Allah mentions about the angel of death that comes and takes the soul of every human being. Allah is mentioning verse 11, قل يتوفاكم ملك الموت الذي وكل بكم ثم إلى ربكم ترجعون. Say the angel of death will take you as he has been entrusted. وكل, meaning that he has been appointed, entrusted with this job. The job of Malik al-Maut, angel. And let me mention here that Allah did not give the name of angel, but He called him Malik al-Maut, angel of death. There's no name for it. There is some people out there in the Muslim society, they say his name is Azazil or Israel or things like that. That is all false and bogus. It's just made up, invented by people. There is no authentic narration by the Prophet ﷺ saying that the angel of death is called by that. And rather, Allah has called him here very clearly in this ayah, Malik al-Maut, because Allah, if He wanted to name him, He would have called him by name, just like Allah called Jibreel and Mikael in the Quran, and Munkar, Nakir, and Kiram, and Katibin. All these are names of angels mentioned in the Quran. So this is the name of the angel of death, Malak al-Maut, angel of death. And then you will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verse number 12, Surah Sajdah, وَلَوْ تَرَى إِذِ الْمُجْرِمُونَ نَاكِسُوا رُءُوسِهِمْ عِنْدَ رَبِّهِمْ رَبَّنَا أَبْصَرْنَا وَسَمِعْنَا فَارْجِعْنَا نَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا إِنَّا مُوقِنُونَ. And if you could see when the criminals are hanging their heads before their Lord, saying, our Lord, we have seen and heard, so return us to the world, we'll work righteous. Indeed, we are now certain. This is referring to Yawm al-Qiyamah, Day of Judgment, that the criminals, they will realize and they'll stick their necks out and heads out asking, amongst the people, because there's going to be a huge group of people, not a group, but, billions of people there. So the criminals will try to, try to stick out their neck and ask for favor that, arja'na, return us back to the earth one more time and we will do the righteous good deeds, and we are sincerely devoted to you, meaning they're trying to get some respite to go back to the dunya, because they can see the Day of Judgment is so horrendous, so dangerous, that reality will sink into people, and many people will have regret that they wasted their time in the dunya. But it's no good right now, because that's the end, and that's what Allah is saying, that they will not be returned. وَلَوْ شَئْنَا لَأَتَيْنَا كُلُّ نَفْسٍ هُدَاهَا. Allah responding that if we wanted, if Allah wanted, He could have give guidance to every soul. Everyone on earth will be Muslim. If Allah wants that, of course, that is for Allah very easy. He can make everybody Muslim. End of story. No need for prophets and messengers, no need for Quran. Everybody's guided, everybody's believing in Allah and worshipping Allah. But Allah did not want to do that, and that's illogical also. It doesn't make sense. Why would Allah make everybody, believers and then enter them in Jannah? Because if everybody is a believer, they will automatically go to Jannah. So the reason here we are on earth is to test, to differentiate, to find out who is good, who is bad, like a test, like an exam. The teacher in school, she or he gives you an exam to find out who is A, who's B, or C, or D. If the teacher wants, they can say, oh, all of you are passed, just go to next grade. So no exam, no test, no assignment, nothing. Then life will be useless. Imagine people going to school and there's no homework, there's no classwork, there's no exam, just chill out, have a nice time. And teachers are saying, you're going to be promoted to the next grade. And that's illogical. It will defeat the purpose of school, defeat the purpose of going to school. And the same way Allah is saying that if He would have given guidance to everybody and made everybody Muslim, it will defeat the purpose of this dunya. What is this dunya for? This dunya is a place of imtihan. And that's what Allah is saying, وَلَكِنْ حَقَّ الْقَوْلُ مِنِّي لَأَمْنَأَنَّ جَهَنَّمَ مِنَ الْجِنَّةِ وَالنَّاسِ أَجْمَعِينَ. But my word has become truthful. حق القول. It's my word is truthful and manifest that I will fill Jahannam. Allah is saying, I will fill Jahannam with jinns and human beings. Both jinn will be in Jahannam and insan, because jinns have free will. There are Muslim jinn and there's kafir jinn. Surah Jinn is coming up, and also Surah Ahzaab, it talks about jinn. We'll soon be covering that over there. But here Allah is saying that He can fill up Jahannam with jinn and insan for this purpose, that they fail the test of this life. Number 14, Surah Sajdah, فَذُوقُوا بِمَا نَسِيتُمْ لِقَاءَ يَوْمِكُمْ هَذَا إِنَّا نَسِينَاكُمْ. So taste this punishment of hellfire on this day of judgment. Verily we forget you today. Meaning Allah is saying, for me to remember you was back there in dunya, in earth. As long as you asked me there, I would have remembered you and give you a second chance, a third chance. I gave you so many chances, ya insan. But since you forgot me in dunya and did not avail those chances, so here today on this day of judgment, I will forget you. Inna nasinakum. We will make you forgotten, and you will not be given any chance. وَذُوقُوا عَذَابَ الْخُلْدِ بِمَا كُنْتُمْ تَعْمَلُونَ. And taste the punishment of eternity. Khuld khalidin, same means eternity. So you will be in Jahannam or insan, and for what you used to do in dunya. Number 15, إنما يؤمن بآياتنا الذين إذا ذكروا بها خروا سجدا وسبحوا بحمد ربهم وهم لا يستكبرون. This is the ayah of Sajdah, so make sure that you do the Sajdah tilawah today after we're done with this class, inshallah. And this is the ayah of Sajdah where Allah is saying, إنما يؤمن بآياتنا الذين ذكروا بها. Really, those people believe in our signs, in our verses, who, when they're reminded about it, they immediately fall into prostration. Prostration is a sign of humility and humbleness and submissiveness to Allah. So when the people remember Allah, remember the signs of Allah, they immediately get into the sajda. And what do they do there? وَسَبَّحُوا بِحَمْدِ رَبِّهِمْ. They make tasbih of Allah and praise of Allah in the sajda. وَهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And they are not arrogant, meaning they don't deny doing sajda. And you, O mujrimeen, or you, O criminals, you always deny that, and you now will be facing Jahannam on this day of judgment. 16, Surah Sajdah we are in. تَتَجَافَى جُنُوبُهُمْ عَنِ الْمَضَاجِعِ يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Allah is talking about Salatul Tahajjud. Sometimes, many times, people ask, where is it, where Allah says Tahajjud in the Quran? Allah is mentioning here that Tahajjud is not the fard prayer, but it is an extra prayer, nafil, nawafil. It's for those who want to be close to Allah. Through the faraid, through the 5 daily prayers, we just fulfill the bare minimum, the bare requirement, the necessity of life. But through the tahajjud, we get closer to Allah. So Allah is saying after the ayah of sajdah, that those who remember Allah, they get down on their knees and get down on their forehead and make sajdah to Allah, make prostration to Allah. And then they are not just making prostration to Allah, but they even make prostration, and they even get away from their madaji. Madaji is the plural of madja, which means the place, your bed, your comfort, or where you're sleeping. Even on the floor, you can just put a comforter or something or sheet, and that is your madja. So Allah is saying that these people who love to pray to Allah, these people who love to do sajda to Allah, these people who love to remember Allah, their bodies are always turning from the bed and they are in their sleep. Even they love Allah so much, and they love to make sajda to Allah so much, that they leave their beds and they are in prayers. This ayah has two meanings. Number one, that they do not go to bed, they don't go to sleep, they pray all night. And second is that they do sleep after Isha, but then they wake up. They tatajafa junubum. Junub is the plural of jam, their bodies. So their bodies, tatajafa, tartafa, is getting up from the body. But you don't suddenly get up from the sleep and get up from the body, but you gradually, your sleep ends, it phases out, and you are turning and topsing on the bed, and then finally you get up, you say, yes, I made it, because shaitan is putting waswasa in the mind, sleep, you're tired, relax, rest, and the person is sometimes turning on the right, sometimes turning on the left, on their jump, and then they put up their body from the bed and they get up. And that's why the sunnah of Rasulullah was that when he would get up for tahajjud, first thing he would say is, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, I seek refuge in Allah from shaitan, the avowed enemy. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then he will say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and recite Ayat al-Kursi, because so that the shaitan will run away. And this is the best way. If you wake up in the middle of the night, 2, 3, or 4 o'clock in the night, first thing is say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, then say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, then recite Ayat al-Kursi, and then get up and go to the bathroom, make wudu, and pray. And Allah says that these people, they are calling upon their Lord in the middle of the night. يَدْعُونَ رَبَّهُمْ خَوْفًا وَطَمَعًا وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. They're calling Allah with fear and with hope and anticipation for maghfirah, for forgiveness, and akhir and jannah. And they also spend money from what we have given to them. So not only are they praying tahajjud, not only are they staying up at night to pray to Allah, but they complement their prayer with infaq, with fi sabilillah. Wherever Allah mentions salah, wherever Allah mentions prayer throughout the Quran, he also mentions about spending in the money. These two things are like twins, these things go together all the time. Meaning, like, it can't be possible that you just pray and you don't spend in the path of Allah, or you just spend in the path of Allah and you don't pray. It's like twins. The one who prays to Allah, the one who remembers Allah, the one who is focused with Allah. Remember, like yesterday, I was talking about alignment. The one who's aligned with Allah and prays to Allah, then they know that when they pray to Allah, they know that this money is a gift from God. It is what Allah gave me. It's not my money. And that's why مِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. Allah is saying, from what we gave them the money, they spend. They know that this is a gift of Allah. So spending money is a way of getting closer to Allah, just like praying nawafil, praying extra prayer is a way of getting closer to Allah. So the more you spend, the more you give, especially in these last 10 nights of Ramadan, these Laylatul Qadr night. We should be giving in the path of Allah. We should be giving to the masajid, to the masjid. You can donate to our masjid. You can just go online, www.isnj.net/donate. It is also, the link is also here in YouTube on the video. You can just click the link and you'll just go there. And Allah is saying that through their donations and through their money and spending, they're getting closer to Allah, just like they're getting closer with their dua, with their sajdah, with their qiyam, with their prayers. فَلَا تَعْلَمُ نَفْسٌ مَا أُخْفِيَ, verse number 17, Surah Sajdah. And no soul knows that what is hidden for them of the comfort of their eyes. جَزَاءً بِمَا كَانُوا يَعْمَلُونَ, meaning they don't know what is reserved for them in Jannah. If Allah were to show each one of us what is there for us in Jannah, believe you me, brothers and sisters, we will leave everything. You will leave job, school, study, everything, and just be worshipping Allah because we see what is in Jannah. But Allah has ukhfiya lahum. Allah has hidden that. Jannah we don't see. We haven't seen Jannah. And that's why the Rasul said in the hadith to a Sahaba that Jannah is what no eye has ever seen, no ear has ever heard about it. Here, you haven't seen it by your eyes, and also nobody went there and came back and told you, oh, Jannah is like this. So you have not even heard about it. Like if somebody goes to Switzerland or Cancun or Bahamas or Himalayas or somewhere, and they come back to you, they tell you stories about it. So you say, yeah, I haven't seen Switzerland, I haven't seen Bahamas, but I've heard about it. People told me. So that's what Rasul said, that Jannah is something beautiful that no one has ever seen, no one has even heard about it, and وَمَا خَطَرَ عَلَى بَالِهِ, and no one can ever imagine how beautiful Jannah is. The only description of Jannah is what Allah has given in the Quran or in different ayats, that they are that they are pearls, and they are houses, and they are beautiful palaces, and there are rivers flowing, and there's a honey, and river of honey, river of milk, river of wine, and these things that are defined in different ayats. So Allah has given a description of Jannah in the ayat of Quran, but still that is not what you seeing is believing. That is not what you have seen. You have only heard about it from what the little description Allah has given. So Allah is saying that we have hidden this for them as a coolness of their eye and a reward for them for what they did on earth, meaning their reward is hidden as reserve. Imagine like a teacher saying that if you pass this test, if you ace it, if you get 100, I have this box for you ready, but you don't know what's inside the box. There's a gift, a box for you. You don't know what's inside. It's all wrapped up. Same way Allah is saying to the believers, especially those who do tahajjud and prayer and infaq fi sabilillah, that Allah has reserved for them Jannah that is so beautiful. Number 18, أَفَمَنْ كَانَ مُؤْمِنًا كَمَنْ كَانَ فَاسِقًا لَا يَسْتَوُونَ. This ayah was revealed about Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib and Walid ibn Mughira, that he was insulting him and taunting and teasing him. He's saying, what, you're believing in Muhammad and this and that. And so Allah revealed this ayah that أَفَمَنْ كَانَ مُؤْمِنًا كَمَنْ كَانَ فَاسِقًا لَا يَسْتَوُونَ. Do you think that the one who is a believer in Muhammad, believer in Allah and Akhirah, is equal to the one who's fasiq, the one who is defiantly disobedient, the one who's a transgressor? فاسق, fusuq means تخرج من الحدود. It means to go outside the boundary of something. So this person, the Quraysh, the Makki person, the mushrik, is doing shirk, so they are a fasiq. They are transgressing the boundary of Allah, and the boundary of Allah is tawheed, is oneness. La yasta'un, they are not equal. What are you teasing and taunting Ali ibn Abi Talib about? You are nowhere near him and nowhere comparable to him, unless you believe in Allah subhanahu and come to Islam and believe in Rasul sallallahu and take the shahada. 19. أما الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم جنات المأوى نزلا بما كانوا يعملون. As for those who believe and did righteous good deeds, for them there will be gardens of refuge as accommodation for what they used to do in dunya and this earth. Number 20. وَأَمَّا الَّذِينَ فَسَقُوا فَمَأْوَاهُمُ النَّارُ. And those who disobeyed Allah and rejected Allah and transgressed the boundaries of Allah, for them their abode is in fire. Now, كُلَّمَا أَرَادُوا أَن يَخْرُجُوا مِنْهَا. Now Allah is giving a little bit of description of the fire. That every time these people who are in the fire, in hellfire, every time they try to get out, أَرَادُوا, إِرَادَة, they desired, يخرج منها, they want to get out of the fire. أعيدوا فيها, they are pushed back. Like there's خزنة الجهنم, as Allah says in another surah that ayah is coming, that they'll be the guardians of hellfire. One of the names of the angel for guardian of hellfire is Malik. Malik is this huge, big, gigantic angel that is guarding the hellfire, and nobody's getting out of it. And there are other more assistant angels that are helping, and they are guarding the hellfire. Every time anyone wants to get out, they get pushed back. كلما أرادوا أن يخرجوا منها أعيدوا فيها وقيل لهم. And then the angels say to them, when they push them back in the hellfire, and say, ذوقوا عذاب النار. Taste this punishment of hellfire. الذي كنتم به تكذبون. Taste this punishment of hellfire for which you used to deny in dunya. You used to say, oh, there's no Jahannam, there's no akhirah, there's no life. So now here, keep tasting it. What graphic imagery and description of the Jahannam Allah is giving in verse number 20. Sajdah here, subhanAllah. Allah is giving here, remember this is a Makki surah, and giving to the Quraysh, the Makkans, look, before you start doing this in Jahannam, trying to get out of it, why don't you believe in Muhammad right now here in Mecca right now? You still have a chance. You believe in Allah, believe in Muhammad, you will be saved from the hellfire. 21, then Allah reminds them about the punishment in Akhirah. وَلَنُذِيقَنَّهُم مِّنَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَدْنَى دُونَ الْعَذَابِ الْأَكْبَرِ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. And we will surely make the Quraysh, the mushrikeen of Mecca, taste the adhab al-adna, the shorter punishment or the nearer punishment, which here refers to the dunya, that all the kafirin, all the mushrikeen will be getting some form of punishment here in dunya, and then they will be getting the bigger punishment, adhab al-akbar, yawm al-qiyamah, the Jahannam adhab. لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْجِعُونَ. And perhaps they will be, repenting to Allah. Meaning this punishment in dunya is a wake-up call, is a way of reminder to him, perhaps, that they will return to Allah before they get to the bigger azab, the punishment of hellfire. 22. وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مِمَّنْ ذُكِّرَ بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِ ثُمَّ أَعْرَضَ عَنْهَا إِنَّ مِنَ الْمُجْرِمِينَ مُنْتَقِمُونَ. And who is more unjust than the one who's reminded of the verses of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then he turns away from them? Indeed, we from the criminals will take retribution, return from them. 23. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى الْكِتَابَ فَلَا تَكُنْ فِي مِرْيَةٍ مِّن لِقَائِهِ وَجَعَلْنَاهُ هُدًى لِبَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. And we certainly gave Musa alayhi salam the scripture, the Torah. So do not be in doubt over his meeting. And we made a meeting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at Jabal Atub, and he got the Torah. And we made the Torah guidance for the children of Israel, the children of Bani Israel. 24. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا لَمَّا صَبَرُوا. And we made from amongst the children of Israel those people who were leaders that would follow the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they were patient with the order of وَكَانُوا بِآيَاتِنَا يُوقِنُونَ. And they used to believe. There were many people after Musa alayhi salam who were leaders of the Bani Israel, and they would believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and lead the ummah. But many others also rejected, and they deviated, and they changed things around. 25. إِنَّ رَبَّكَ هُوَ يَفْصِلُ بَيْنَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فِيمَا كَانُوا فِيهِ يَخْتَلِفُونَ. Verily your Lord will judge between them, meaning the good and the bad, on the day of judgment, concerning that which they used to differ here on earth. 26. أَوَلَمْ يَهْدِ لَهُمْ كَمْ أَهْلَكْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ مِنَ الْقُرُونِ يَمْشُونَ فِي مَسَاكِنِهِمْ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ أَفَلَا يَسْمَعُونَ. Has it not become clear to you, to them, how many generations we destroyed before them as they walk among their dwellings? Indeed, in that are signs, but they do not want to hear that. 27 أولم يروا أن نسوق الماء إلى الأرض الجرز فنخرج به زرعا تأكل منه أنعامه وأنفسهم فلا يبصرون. Again, Allah's qudra and wahdaniyah is being shown, that the beautiful creations of Allah here on earth. He's reminding the Quraysh that, look, have you not seen that Allah is the one who drives the water from the clouds into the barren land? The rain comes down and brings forth by from that in the land crops and vegetation and life, which is a food for your livestock and also food for yourselves. Don't you then see, أَفَلَا يُبْصِرُونَ, don't you open up your eyes and see what's going on in the world? Who is doing all this? It's Allah, so you better believe in Him. 28 وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْفَتْحُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ, and they say, when is this conquest, or when is this opening, or this ending of the day of judgment? When is it coming, if you are really truthful? Or when, or also it refers to when is the punishment coming towards us, if you are truthful about it. 29 قُلْ يَوْمَ الْفَتْحِ لَا يَنْفَعُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِيمَانُهُمْ وَلَهُمْ يُنْذَرُونَ. Say to them that the day of Fath, or day of opening, or the day of judgment, and that day will not help the disbelievers, the kafir, any iman. If they believe on that day, the iman will not help them. Iman is only beneficial as long as you have it before death. After death, no good of iman. Even if a person believes in the grave, in the barzakh, or believes on the day of judgment, Allah is saying there is no use of that. وَلَا هُمْ يُنذَرُونَ, and they will not be reprieved or relieved from that. Verse number 30, last ayah of Surah Sajdah, Hamim Sajdah, فَأَعْرِضْ عَنْهُمْ وَانْتَظِرْ إِنَّهُمْ مُنْتَظِرُونَ. So turn away from them and wait. Indeed, they are waiting, meaning wait for the azab, wait for the day of judgment coming. Indeed, we are waiting for that too. Next surah, Surah Ahzaab, Surah 33. Like I said yesterday, Ahzaab means, from in the plural of Hizb. Hizb means a group, a sect. Ahzab, many groups and sects, the Confederates. And this surah was revealed around the time of Battle of Khandaq, Battle of Ahzab, which is also another name for it. And this refers to the tribes and nations from the Quraysh, the Meccans, who all teamed up against the Muslimin, and also the Jews of Bani Qurayza that were living there also in Yathrib in Medina. They also teamed up again, and the Munafiqeen within Medina. They also partnered and sided with the Quraysh, the Mushrikeen of Mecca, and teamed up with them to defeat the Muslims. So the Banu Qurayza Jews and the Munafiqeen of Medina, they betrayed. Rasulullah had made an oath with them, a pact, that they would stay inside Medina and protect, while Muslims and Rasulullah will go outside Medina, dig up this trench and fight the non-Muslims, the Mushrikeen, out. And those people then betrayed the trust, and they allowed the Mushrikeen from the backside of Medina, and they entered and they attacked. So that is what this surah is also referring to. And this surah talks about it's a Madani surah, and so therefore, like any Madani surah, there's a lot of ahkam, a lot of rules and regulations in this surah. A lot of social values and a lot of social etiquettes and manners are defined. Ayat of hijab and jilbab are described in here. Ayat of morality and haya are also talked about in here, and also the issue of adoption of son or daughter, and what is the relationship of the adopted child compared to the parents. And then also many ayats about Rasulullah is also described here, about his personal life and his home and all that. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. First ayah, Surah Ahzab. يا أيها النبي اتق الله ولا تطع الكافرين والمنافقين إن الله كان عليما حكيما. The first ayah, Allah subhanahu saying to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Of course, Rasulullah does taqwa and he has taqwa. So why is Allah saying to him ittaqillah? Means that, O Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, continue to be on taqwa as you are before all the time since prophethood. Continue in taqwa, continue to fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and devote to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and do not follow the kafirin and munafiqeen, meaning the munafiqeen of Medina, and do not follow these kafirin, the mushrikeen of Mecca that have come to attack you. Inna Allah kana aliman hakima, and verily Allah is all knowing and all wise of what is happening and what they're doing. Number 2, وَاتَّبِعْ مَا يُوحَى إِلَيْكَ مِنْ رَبِّكَ, and follow what has been revealed to you from your Lord, meaning this Quran. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ خَبِيرًا, verily Allah is well aware and knowledgeable of what you are doing on earth. وَتَوَكَّلَ Allah, and rely and depend on Allah. وَكَفَى بِاللَّهِ وَكِيلًا, and Allah is sufficient to as a reliance and dependence on Him. Number 4, ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه وما جعل أزواجكم اللائي تظاهرون منهن أمهاتكم وما جعل أدعياءكم أبناءكم ذلكم قولكم بأفواهكم والله يقول الحق وهو يهدي السبيل. A very loaded ayah, very packed with a lot of rules and regulations here. Number 1, Allah is saying that He has not made two hearts for a person in their chest. This was in relation to one of the munafiqeen in the Medina. They said, oh, Muhammad sallallahu has two hearts. When he's praying with you guys, he has one heart, he's thinking, and then he has another heart for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for devotion. So Allah responded to that Muhammad sallallahu does not, no person, no human being can have two hearts. There is only one heart, and he is focused in the prayer, and what you accuse of munafiqeen are wrong. Another sabab al-nuzul of this ayah was that there's a man in Medina known as Zul Qalbain, the possessor of two hearts. He used to notoriously call himself like that, and Allah is refuting that claim that what you are saying here in Medina in the streets, is all garbage and rubbish. Allah does not make two hearts for people, or two things. But one of the interpretation of this ayah is that double-minded. When you are double-minded about something, you are two hearts. That's one thing, that when you are not sure, should I do this? Should I don't do this? Should I do this? So that is why it's better to do at that time tawakkal Allah. And if a person is double-minded, they should seek Allah. And that is why istikhara is there. Salatul istikhara is to seek advice from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seek, help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What should we do when we are troubled with two minds? What to do with this thing? And then Allah subhanahu says, وَمَا جَعْلَ أَزْوَاجَكُمُ اللَّائِي تُظَاهِرُونَ مِنْهُ أُمَّهَاتِكُم. Dihar was a custom, a ritual of Jahiliyyah. The Arabs had back in the old days in Mecca, they have this tradition and ritual that if a husband said to his wife, أَنْتَ كَذَحْرِ أُمِّي, you are like the back of my mother, meaning you look like my mother, khalas, their marriage will saqit, their marriage will fall apart. It's an automatic divorce. The moment, even if they said it by mistake, even if they said it by mizah, like jokingly, that, oh, you look like my mom, you look very much like my mom. And so that's why that ritual custom was not dhihar, dhahar, coming from the back. That, they're saying that, you look like my mom, or you look similar to this and that, to my mother. So that's why, because mother is very high in maqam, and even in the Jahiliyyah, in their ignorant days, they respected mother, and they did not marry their mothers. There was no incest. Even though how filthy the Quraysh were and how rubbish they were, still they had some kind of morality and modesty, that they would not marry their moms. So the moment any husband would say, in the old days, that you're like my mom, they'll say, oh, this is like divorce, it's talaq. You can't be sleeping with your mom. So then that wife would separate and leave the house of that man. And so now when they migrated and came to Medina, so that tradition continued, because there was no official warning, there was no official ruling that came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this lady, this is also mentioned in Surah Mujadila, Surah 58. The more detail of this ayah comes over there in that surah, that this lady came to Rasulullah and said, my husband said this to me, Ya Rasulullah, what is the hukum, what's the rule for me? And he said, I don't know, I can't say anything until Allah reveal that. And here Allah is saying that whatever you say to your wives, that they are like your mothers, they are not like your mothers. And then the other thing that the Arabs had, the Quraysh, as a ritual, was they would adopt children, adopt son or daughter. So their adopted son will be just like their own son, and they would not marry the wife of their adopted son. If the adopted son died, they would not marry that. So in this surah, Allah talks about the incident of Zainab bin Jahsh, the cousin of Rasulullah ﷺ, and Zayd bin Haritha, the slave of Rasulullah he had from Jahiliyyah days, but then he freed him and he appointed him as his, adopted son. Rasulullah took him as his adopted son, but he was the son of Harith, and so his name was Zayd ibn Haris. So Allah is saying, وَمَا جَعْلَ أَدْعِيَاءَكُمْ أَبْنَاءَكُمْ, and Allah did not make your adopted sons, or people who you address as adopted people, they are not your sons. They're not equally like your blood sons. They are not at all equal. So two things Allah is mentioning over here, that neither your wife becomes like your mother, nor does your adopted son becomes like your true blood son. Both of this is bogus and rubbish. This is the time of Jahiliyyah, ignorant days, custom and ritual. So get away with it, abrogate it, cancel it. ذَلِكُمْ قَوْلُكُمْ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ. This is the word that you just say from your tongue. You used to say this, O Arabs, in the Jahiliyyah days from your tongue. So this is not at all valid. There's no Sharia, there's no law and rule for that. And Allah does not make such a rule. وَاللَّهُ يَقُولُ الْحَقَّ. And Allah says only that which is truth and the right thing. وَهُوَ يَهْدِي السَّبِيلَ. And He guides you to the right path. He guides you to the straight path, the path of Islam. Number 5, ادعوهم لآبائهم هو أقسط عند الله فإن لم تعلموا آباءهم فإخوانكم في الدين ومواليكم. Call those sons, adopted sons, for their names of their fathers. Don't call Zayd bin Muhammad. Don't tell him that he's Zayd bin Muhammad. He's not the son of Muhammad Zalaf. He's the son of Harith. And so in the same way, the Arabs who adopted their children, they would give them their name, adopted father's name. And Allah is saying that is wrong. Huwa aqsatu inda Allah. It is better that you call them by their father's name. So that therefore that is their haqq, that is their truth. Even if their fathers are non-Muslims or kafir, you still call them by their name. And here there's an important principle for reverts, for converts, new Muslims. A lot of times new Muslims have this misinformation or wrong information they get from people, because our Muslims, they don't know these things. They haven't studied the Quran properly. So that's why they just tell them, oh, you need to change your name, you need to change your name. No, you don't have to change your name when you become Muslim. There's no hadith like that. Rasul never said that, except that he said that if your name means something bad, like you are the slave of the sun or slave of the moon, or you're slave of Lat, Uzza, Manat, or Abdul Taghut, then only, if your name means a very disgusting bad meaning, a negative meaning, then yes, you may change your name. But if your name is fine and there's nothing wrong in the meaning of the name, you don't need to. If your name is Andrew and Jacob and John and Joseph, it is fine. And that's why that is their name. Do not change their name. And don't change their father's name also. A lot of times, reverts, because of their enthusiasm and their iman, they disown their father's name. They take it away from their name. And some even go to the extent that they go to the court of law and file an application with the municipality, local mayor's office or township office, that I want to do a name change. My name, I've converted to Islam. Today my name is Abdullah and Rahman. And they get away with their father's name, whether it was Schiff or Stephen or Johnson, whatever. And that is wrong. Allah is saying, "Ud'uhum li'abahim." Keep your father's identity with you. Islam is a very, very logical, practical, pragmatic, progressive religion, deen. And Islam is all about al-uns and mahabba and shafaqa. Allah is saying just because somebody converts to Islam does not mean that he should disown their parents and disown their family and remove their names and all that. No. وَدُعُوهُمْ لِآبَائِهِمْ. Call them with their father's names. هُوَ أَقْسَطُ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ. That is more just with Allah, more fair with Allah. It is more fair. It is unfair and unjust that you change their name and make it into some other Muslim name. فَإِنْ لَمْ تَعْلَمُوا آبَاءَهُمْ فَإِخْوَانُكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ. If you do not know who their fathers are, and there are many adopted children there, and they don't know who their father is. So then remember, they are your brothers in deen, and they are your mu'alikum, and they are entrusted with you. They're under your care, so take care of them. وَلَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ فِيمَا أَخْطَأْتُمْ. And there is no harm against you if you made a mistake by forgetfulness, or you erred. وَلَكِنْ تَعَمَّدْ قُلُوبُكُمْ. But what is accountable is what you do deliberately, intentionally with your heart. That is wrong. If unintentionally something happened, khata, mistake happened, that's fine. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورٌ رَحِيمًا. And Allah is forgiving and merciful. Number 6, Surah Ahzaab. النبي أولى بالمؤمنين من أنفسهم. The Prophet is more worthy of the believers than themselves. وأزواجه أمهاتهم. And the wives of the prophets are like the mothers of the believers, meaning they are not blood mothers, not literally blood mother, but they're like the mothers in faith. The prophet is a father for the people, their flock, the people of his prophecy, and as a father figure, and they're like mother figure, meaning their maqam, their rutbah is less like mother. As you would treat your mother, as you would give respect and honor to your mother, and as you would not marry or sleep with your mother, similarly you cannot marry the wives of Rasul Sallam. And that's what Allah is setting the ground here. That ayah is coming later in Surah Ahzaab, where Allah says that you cannot marry the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. After the Prophet dies, their wives, these wives cannot remarry. Any other wife, our wives can remarry whoever they want after we die and go away. That's the reality of life. Husband or wife may die, and then the other person may remarry someone else. But for the Prophet's wife, it was forbidden for them. And that is why Allah is saying that, they are like mothers to you. وَأُولِي الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَى بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُهَاجِرِينَ. And then those people who are connected through blood and kinship, they are, they're more inherited, entitled to each other. في كتاب الله من المؤمنين والمهاجرين, in the book of Allah, from amongst the believers and the muhajirin, the migrant people. إلا أن تفعلوا إلى أوليائكم معروفا, except that you may do to your close relatives, associates, kindness, that you would give them inheritance. وكان ذلك في كتاب مسطورا, that is written in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, indeed inscribed on the lines. Third, verse number 7, Surah 33, Surah Ahzaab. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقًا وَمِنْكَ وَمِن نوح وإبراهيم وموسى عيسى ابن مريم وَأَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا. Allah subhanahu is reminding Rasul that, look, we took an oath from you, and also from all the prophets of Allah, and from you, and especially from Nuh, from Ibrahim and Musa and Isa ibn Maryam. These are the 5 ulul azam min al-rusul. There are five grand prophets of Allah. Amongst all the thousands and thousands of prophets, 5 are known as ulul azam min al-rusul, the 5 prophets of binding resolution, or binding resolve, binding commitment, because they were the most tested by their people on earth. So the number 1 is Nuh alayhi salam, number 2 Ibrahim alayhi salam, number 3 Musa alayhi salam, number 4 Isa ibn Maryam alayhi salam, and number 5 our Habib Mustafa Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنْهُمْ مِيثَاقًا غَلِيظًا, and we took from them a covenant, a solemn covenant. That's why they are known as ulul azam min ar-rusul. They are prophets of binding resolution, of deep commitment and deep perseverance with Allah, connection. These are the 5 grandeur prophets. Number 8, Surah Ahzaab, لِيَسْأَلَ الصَّادِقِينَ عَنْ صِدْقِهِمْ, so that Allah will question them, the truthful people, on their truth in the dunya, what they did. وَعَدَّ الْكَافِرِينَ عَذَابًا أَلِيمًا, and Allah has prepared for the kafirin, disbelievers, a grave punishment, painful punishment. Number 9, يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ جَاءَتْكُمْ جُنُودٌ فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ رِيحًا وَجُنُودًا لَمْ تَرَوْهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرًا. This is about Battle of Ahzab, the Battle of Khandaq. Allah is reminding that, oh, you who believe, remember the bounty and blessing of Allah upon you when He sent, when an army and soldier of the Quraysh, they came to you, to Medina. So we sent upon them an army, meaning the army of angels, we sent upon them to fight. There were 10,000 Quraysh, 10,000 kuffar of Mecca and their allies. This was the battle of confederates, or battle of allies. The lesson in this battle to be learned is that the Quraysh were not just fighting alone with the Muslims and Rasulullah, but they brought all their allies, confederates. Like today you have UN and NATO and all these allied forces. They all team up against one nation, or one being, one person. In the same way, the Quraysh, teamed up with many allies from many qabail, and they gathered all them. They were 10,000 strong, and Muslims were very little compared to them. So Allah is saying, remember, O Muhammad, remember, O believers, when we sent an army of angels to fight with you in the battle of Ahzab. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرًا, and Allah was all seeing of what you were doing in the battle over there. Number 10, Surah Ahzab, is جاءوكم من فوقكم ومن أسفل منكم وإذ زاغت الأبصار وبلغت القلوب الحناجر تظنون بالله ظنونا. Remember when they came at you from above you and below you, and when eyes shifted in fear and hearts reached the throats. قلوب الحناجر, حناجر الحنجرة. Hanjara is this part of the throat, right here, by the, as soon as you put something in the first part that it touches in your neck, the upper part of your throat, that is hanjar. Hanjara, and hanajir is the plural of that. So Allah is saying you became so fearful, you became so scared that your heart came in your throat. Like sometimes people say, oh, my heart came out in my mouth, or in my throat, so to speak. It's a metaphoric expression which Allah is referring to here, that the Muslimin of Mecca, they became so scared in battle of Ahzab that they were so distressed that, oh no, we have lost this battle. as they're attacking, and they came from above them, meaning some of them tried to go above the trench and try to attack them, and some from front and from the back and every sides. But the dhununa billah dhununa, and you were having assumptions about Allah, saying, Allah helping us or not, or what's going on. هنالك ابتلي المؤمنين وزلزلوا زلزالا شديدا. On that day, the day of Ahzab, the believers were really shaken to the core. They were tested to the farthest, and they were shaken inside. زلزلوا زلزالا شديدا, similar to the ayah that was revealed in Surah Baqarah. Remember, we studied that in the first day of this whole Ramadan, that the people who came before Muslims and Muhammad sallam, they were, Allah talked about them, that they were tested very, very badly and severely and they were shaken to the core until they asked their prophets, when is the victory coming? When is the help coming from Allah? So similar to that, Allah is saying that, look, you were shaken up and you were tested extremely in on the day of Ahzab, day of the battle of Khandaq. Number 12 in Surah Ahzab, وَإِذْ يَقُولُ الْمُنَافِقُونَ وَالَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِم مَرَضٌ مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. And the munafiqeen who were on the side of the mushrikeen and aiding and abetting them, and the munafiqeen were also teaming up with the Jews of Banu Qurayza and trying to do treachery and mockery and shrewdness to defeat the Muslims, to undermine the victory of Muslims. So Allah is referring to them in this ayah, talking about the munafiqeen. Remember when the hypocrites said, and those in their hearts who have disease, meaning referring to the munafiqeen. Allah is saying nifaq is a disease. It is in the heart and it increases. We learned that already in Surah Baqarah in the first day. Allah said, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا. In the hearts of the munafiqeen, the hypocrites, is a disease, and Allah increases that. So the munafiqeen and those who have in their hearts disease, they said, what has our prophet, what has Allah and our prophet promised us except delusion? Meaning, what is this? They brought us out here in the Khandaq, in the battle, and this is not a promise. This is not the Jannah. He said we're going to get Jannah and all that. We're going through so much hardship and pain and suffering and killing. 13 وإذ قالت طائفة منهم يا أهل يثرب لا مقام لكم فارجعوا واستأذن فريق منهم النبي يقولون إن بيوتنا عورة وما هي بعورة إن يريدون إلا فرارا. And when a faction of them said, "O people of Yathrib, there is no stability for you here, so return back to home," meaning get back from this battle of Khandaq. As you know, the Khandaq was way outside Medina. It's outside. Even if you go today to Medina for ziyarah, for traveling, you will see some remnants of that Khandaq is there on the outskirts. And if you see that, it's very far away from Masjid Nabawi. So, today it's part of Medina now, but back then Medina was just around the Masjid Rasul. So they had to go really way out by the Uhud mountain to dig up this trench. And so they are saying that, why don't you go back? If you don't want to fight, if you want to create mischief and problem here, and you feel there's no stability, go back. And and that's why a group of them sought permission from Allah, from Rasul, saying, can you let us go back home? Because our houses are awra. Awra means that something that is exposed, something that is not to be, something that is unsafe, insecure, unprotected. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَمَا هِيَ بِعُورَةٍ, and they are not exposed, they're not, they're taken care of, because remember, Rasul had made a pact, an agreement with the Jews of Banu Qurayza and the other people in Medina, that you take care of our families and houses while we go outside. And the Jews agreed to this. So yes, we will protect you and protect your families and wives and children and the old men that are left here. And you, all of you men, you go outside and fight the Quraysh and defend Medina. So Allah is saying that, indeed they are asking the permission that for going back to their houses, but they are, they are not unprotected. In yuriduna illa firara, Allah is saying that, oh Prophet, all they want, these munafiqeen, from you is firar. They want to run away, flee from you. They don't want to fight. They're scared. Of course, munafiq doesn't want to fight. He's already doesn't have iman in the heart, just acting like a Muslim. So why on earth? It's only a believer that would fight with the Prophet in the battle. Verse 14, وَلَوْ دُخِلَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ أَقْطَارِهَا ثُمَّ سُئِلُوا فِتْنَةً لَأَتَوْهَا وَمَا تَلَبَّثُوا بِهَا إِلَّا يَسِيرًا. Again, ayat about the battle of Khandaq, battle of Ahzab, and if they had been entered upon them from all surrounding regions, and a fitna had been demanded of them, they would have done it, but and not hesitated over it, except briefly. About the munafiqeen, that they're trying to create this fitna to go away and run away from the battlefield. 15 وَلَقَدْ كَانُوا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ مِنْ قَبْلُ لَا يَوَلُّونَ الْأَدْبَارَ وَكَانَ عَهْدُ اللَّهِ مَسْئُولًا. But these Muslims or so-called munafiqeen, they had made an oath with Rasul sallam back in Medina that they will not turn their backs away in the battlefield and not ditch Rasul sallam. And now they are ditching him and fleeing him. And ever is the promise of Allah that will be asked. They will be asked on the day of judgment, and also asked here in dunya, why did they desert Rasul sallam from the battle in the middle of it. 16 Surah Ahzaab قُلْ لَنْ يَنْفَعَكُمُ الْفِرَارُ إِنْ فَرَرْتُمْ مِنَ الْمَوْتِ أَوِ الْقَتْلِ وَإِذًا لَا تُمَتَّعُونَ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. Say to them, O Muhammad sallam, that you're running away, your farar, you're running away, fleeing will not help you and will not save you from death, and nor from killing. You may be killed inside Medina, inside your houses, and you may die there. وَإِذًا لَا تُمَتَّعُونَ, and you would not be given any enjoyment of this life except very little. 17 قُلْ مَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَعْصِمُكُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ إِنْ أَرَادَ بِكُمْ سُوءًا أَوْ أَرَادَ بِكُمْ رَحْمَةً. And say to them, who will protect you from Allah if He intends for you some kind of evil to afflict you, or if He intends for you any mercy. وَلَا يَجِدُونَ لَهُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ وَلِيًّا وَلَا نَصِيرًا. And they will not find for themselves besides Allah any protector, any helper. 18 قد يعلم الله الموقين منكم والقائلين لإخوانهم هلم إلينا ولا يأتون البأس إلا قليلا. Allah already knows the hinderers amongst you and those hypocrites who say to their brothers, come to us, and do not go to the battle except for a few. They were trying to derail the others also from going in the battlefield for Ahzab. 19 أشحة عليكم, in you will be in so disgrace, and you'll be exposed and destroyed because of this action that you're doing. فإذا جاء الخوف رأيتهم ينظرون إليك تدور أعينهم كالذي يخشى عليه من الموت. And when fear comes to them, you will see, fear of death, when it comes to them in the middle of the battlefield, you'll see that they'll be looking at you with their eyes revolving like this. It is going like this, the eyes, they're going like this. Oh my God, like they're moving their eyeballs around as if like, oh my God, death is upon us. فإذا ذهب الخوف سلقوكم بألسنة حداد أشحة على الخير. And when the fear departs, they lash with you sharp tongues, indisposed towards any good. And those who have not believed, so Allah will render their deeds worthless, and there is that for Allah easy. يحسبون الأحزاب لم يذهبوا. The confederates, the allies, the groups of people, they thought that they are not withdrawn. وإن يأتي الأحزاب يودوا لو أنهم بعدون في الأعراب يصلون عن أنبائكم ولو كانوا فيكم ما قتلوا إلا قليلا. And if the Ahzab which should come again, they would wish that they were in the desert among the Bedouins, inquiring from afar about your news. And if they should be among you, they would not fight except for a little. Meaning the cowardice and the scare of the munafiqeen is being exposed by Allah here, that they can't face the Ahzab, they can't fight with you courageously, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims. 21 لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو اليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. Now the next few ayahs, Allah talks about our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his household and his life. First thing Allah says to the believers that, O people, O Muslims, for you indeed in Rasulullah sallam is a role model, uswatun hasana. Whoever desires Allah and the last day and day of judgment, and also makes dhikr of Allah abundantly. So whoever remembers Allah a lot and fears for the day of judgment and wants to meet Allah, they will take Rasulullah as their role model, as their example. This is in rebuttal to the munafiqeen, that they're not taking Rasulullah as an example, and they're not following him as the Muslims are. But indeed, Rasulullah is an example for the Muslims all over the place if they do fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and desire Allah and the day of judgment. 22 ولما رأى المؤمنون الأحزاب قالوا هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. The previous ayah was talking about the munafiqeen. When they saw the Ahzab, they got scared and fearful of death and blew and blah blah blah, and all kinds of wailing and whining. But the believers, when they saw the Ahzab, when they saw the groups of armies that are lined up against them, across from the ditch, across from the Khandaq, they saw that, they said, qalu, the believers, mu'mineen said around at that time, هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله. This is what our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam promised, and Allah also promised us. وصدق الله ورسوله, and indeed truthful is Allah and His Messenger of what they promised us, that the Ahzab are coming to fight you, and so tighten up your belt and tighten your resolve. وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. And looking at the Ahzab, the believers' iman increases them, and increases them in acceptance of this battle and fighting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ليجزي الله الصادقين بصدقهم ويعذب المنافقين إن شاء ويتوب عليهم إن الله كان غفورا رحيما. Thus that Allah may reward the truthful people, the Sadiqeen Mu'mineen, because of their commitment to Rasulullah and because of their commitment in this battlefield. ويعذب المنافقين, Allah will punish the hypocrites because of their fleeing away and running away and excuses and mockery and treachery. If Allah wants, or Allah perhaps may forgive them and allow them forgiveness. Inna Allah kana ghafur rahim, verily Allah is forgiving and merciful. 25 وَرَدَّ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِغَيْظِهِمْ لَمْ يَنَالُوا خَيْرًا وَكَفَى اللَّهُ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ الْقِتَالَ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ قَوِيًّا عَزِيزًا. And Allah has repelled those who disbelieve in their rage, not having obtained any good, and sufficient was Allah for the believers in the battle of Ahzab. And ever is Allah powerful and exalted in might, and the Muslims defeated the Ahzab and they ran away and went back, and that is what Allah is referring to here in this ayah. 26 وأنزل الذين ظهروهم من أهل الكتاب من صياصيهم وقضى في قلوبهم الرعب فريق تقتلون وتحسرون فريقا. And he brought down those who supported them from among the people of scripture from their fortresses and cast terror into their hearts. A party of you killed and you took captive a party. This is referring to the Jews of the Banu Qurayza who broke their treaty and promise with Rasulullah, and they hid in their fortresses. So Rasulullah said, fight them also. After getting done with the Ahzab, he said to the Muslims, the Mu'mineen, the Sahaba, that now we need to fight them because they betrayed our trust, and it is fair game. وَأَوْرَثَكُمْ أَرْضَهُمْ وَدِيَارَهُمْ وَأَمْوَالَهُمْ وَأَرْضًا لَمْ تَطَعُوهَا وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرًا. And he caused you to inherit their land and their homes and their properties and the land which you have not trodden. And ever is Allah over all things competent. Rasulullah said to the Sahaba that fight them until you chase them into their village and their qabila and their place and their houses, and even if they're in these big fortresses, chase into them and occupy them, because they have betrayed the trust of Rasulullah and betrayed the trust of Allah. They had made an oath, they had made a pact. So now it is fair game to occupy them. This is the part of the ayah where the Jews, even today, they say that, your prophet killed the Jews and this and that, and they attack the Muslims and Rasulullah about it. And Allah is saying that you are falsely attacking Rasulullah because he signed a pact, a treaty with them, and a treaty means that it has to be owned and honored. So if they break the treaty, then it is fair game to attack them. Rasulullah did not at all attack them before they broke the treaty. And they were, in fact, what does the treaty mean? That they are friends and buddies and colleagues together. That is why he's giving them this protection, that you stay in Medina while we'll fight the Ahzab outside the Medina and Khandaq. But because they backstabbed them and showed their treachery from behind, so then Rasulullah said, it is now time to also teach them a lesson. So why? So that they don't do this again with the Muslims in Medina. 28 يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك إن كنتن تردن الحياة الدنيا وزينتها فتعالين ومتعكن وسرحكن سراحا جميلا. Now Allah is talking about the wives of the Prophet there's an incident behind this that Rasulullah was sitting, and his wives, he had multiple wives in Medina, they were all sitting around him. All the wives sitting around Rasulullah, and he was sitting there, and they were asking him about nafaqah, give it. And Rasulullah is a prophet and he's poor. Rasulullah has no means of earning. He's not having a job, a business, a trade. He's a full-time prophet and full-time in this mission. If he's going to do a job or business, then how is he going to do the preaching? So they're asking him that, can you increase dinar or dirham? It's hard for us to survive in what little money you give us. And they're talking. And Abu Bakr was passing outside the Hujra of Rasulullah. He heard that, so he knocked. He knocked on the door, and Rasulullah did not allow permission to come in. And he could hear inside the talk of the wives of Rasulullah. And remember, one of the wives of Rasulullah is the daughter of Abu Bakr too, so he can hear his daughter Aisha talking too. So Abu Bakr, is about to turn. Then Umar ibn Khattab comes and he passes by, and he also heard that, and he heard his daughter. Hafsa was also both these Sahaba, both these two closest friends of Rasulullah, Abu Bakr and Umar. They both were also the father-in-law of Rasulullah. Can you imagine? Not only were they friends, but they were also father-in-law because their daughters were married to the Prophet. And these fathers were very, 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 very zealous, zeal in their love of Rasulullah, that they would reprimand their daughters every time there was, something would be there or say. So So Umar ibn Khattab also knocked and he asked permission. Rasulullah did not, and the voice is hearing, and both Abu Bakr, Umar, they were worried. The Rasulullah is not allowing us to come, but they're standing there, and then they asked again a second time. So then the second time Rasulullah allowed both of them. He said, "Okay, both of you can come in." And as soon as they both come in, Abu Bakr and Umar, they see their daughters, Aisha and Hafsa respectively. And they sat down with Rasulullah and they're asking, "What is the matter, Rasulullah?" So Rasulullah says, "Look, they're asking me for money, they're asking me for nafaqah, and I don't have, and I have, Subhanallah, this is our Prophet Muhammad Sallam, I mean, we today, mashallah, we have such a luxury life. We have such, mashallah, we have so many barakah blessing, brothers and sisters. As Muslims, as Muslim Ummah, we have in our house so much, wealth and money and luxurious living. And here is Rasul Sallam who doesn't have who has very meager resources, who doesn't have the luxuries of life. Even though he doesn't have enough money that he can give and enough to all these wives, so they're asking, for more. So the incident says that Abu Bakr reprimands his daughter. How dare you, how dare you asking Rasulullah for this, and you should not do this, and he reprimands his daughter, and then similarly Umar ibn Khattab. Umar ibn Khattab, as the charismatic leader, is so so strong in temperament. He said, I will slap you, or Hafsa, how dare you ask Rasulullah this? And Abu Bakr, being mild, he said to Aisha in a hard voice that, don't do this, you're hurting our Prophet Muhammad Sallam, and you're my daughter, and I would, as a friend of the Prophet, I feel very bad that my daughter is causing irritation to the Prophet and this. So Allah then revealed this ayah right there and then, and Rasulullah became quiet, and Umar ibn Khattab said that we could see and sense Rasulullah is receiving wahi, revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this ayah was revealed over there. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul li azwajik. Later on, Umar ibn Khattab said that Allah has wafaqa ma'i Rabbi, Allah has agreed with me in many parts of the Quran, and this is one of the places and where he wanted that the wives should not ask Rasulullah for this, and they should. In fact, Umar ibn Khattab had suggested it. Why don't you just give them talaq, give them divorce, let them be free. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, agreed with the concept that Umar ibn Khattab was advising the Rasulullah, but Rasulullah did not listen to Umar ibn Khattab. He said, "No, I can't do that. They're asking me for nafaqah. It is their right. They're my wife, and it is my job as a husband to fulfill their trust." But he's quiet and he's listening. I mean, can you just imagine all the husbands out there? I'm a husband too. Can you imagine all the husbands out there that this is Rasulullah, the best human being on earth, the Rahmatul lil Alameen, the leader of all the prophets. He's sitting there and he's listening to his wives. That is why sometimes, not sometimes, but a lot of times, we should also listen to our wives. If the wife gets upset or angry and she starts, saying things to you, I mean, of course, not shouting and yelling and screaming, but if the wife is talking to you, the husband, it is a good thing in the Sunnah of Rasulullah to be quiet and listen. Sometimes it is good. It is from the Sunnah of Rasulullah. He is listening to his wives, and it is becoming very difficult on his friends, Abu Bakr and Umar, that why are you quiet? Rasulullah, just, shut them up, tell them something, let them be quiet. And Rasulullah is smiling at Umar and Abu Bakr, and then Allah revealed this ayah that, oh, you Prophet, ya you Nabi, oh Prophet, tell your wives, قُلْ أَزْوَاجِكَ إِن كُنْتُنَّ تُرِدْنَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا, that, oh, you, the wives of the Prophet, if you want the dunya, if you want the glitter and glamour of dunya, and if you want the luxuries of dunya, the zinata, fata'alayna, then come to me, umatta'kunna, then I will release you, meaning I'll give you divorce. If you want the luxuries of the world, then you have married the wrong person. Prophet ﷺ cannot bring you the luxury of the world. He's a prophet. His mission is preaching. And you as wives have to help him, aid and abet him in this. You can't be disturbing it. Here, there's a very, very, very deep concept, my dear brother and sister in Islam, especially for Islamic workers, for Rijaluddin, for the people who are working for the khidmah of the deen, that their wives should not provoke or irritate their husbands, especially if you are the wife of imam or sheikh or allama or mufti or alim or scholar. You should not be disturbing or perturbing or irritating your husband, because the husband is full-time busy engaged in the khidmah of the deen. He's not here to accumulate the wealth and pleasures and desires of this dunya. You should have known that better, sister, before you married any qari, any hafiz al-Quran, any alim, any imam, any sheikh, any allama. Before you married as a woman, you should have known better that you will not be getting the luxuries of this world. You're not marrying an engineer or a doctor, a physician, or a computer scientist or professor, or someone that will just be working 24/7, bringing you the luxury of the world. You are marrying someone who is a servant of the deen. So he will be busy a lot in the service of the deen. So he cannot devote a big chunk of time in accumulation of wealth and bring to you as a wife. There's a very, because Rasul said, Al ulama warathatul anbiya, the scholars are the inheritors of the prophets. So if the prophet cannot bring the luxuries and glitters and glamours of dunya to you, then the ulama, the scholars who are busy with the kitab of Allah, busy with the teaching of the books of Allah, yes, they will be earning, they will be getting a salary or risk, but their prime goal objective in life is not to accumulate wealth, is not to have the luxuries of life and come and give it to their wives and their children. Because if that was the case, if that is why that wife married him, then she was wrong, and she has the right, or he has the right to release her. Just like Rasul was saying that, oh my wives, if you want the glitter and glamour of this dunya, if you want the luxuries of this dunya, then come to me. I will release you. I'll give you talaq, and then I'll give you an easy, gracious release. Sarahan jamila. No harm meant, no hard feelings, no bitterness. I release you, a easy release. Yes, I will release you, and you can go and marry someone else who would give you the pleasures of this life. If you want dunya, then you are with the wrong person. That is what Allah is saying, that, oh, you wives of the Prophet ﷺ, if you want dunya, then you got the wrong husband, you got the wrong choice. And still, there is nothing wrong with that. He will release you. Allah is telling him to release you. Allah is asking you. And that is exactly what Umar ibn Khattab said. Ya Rasulullah, why don't you give them talaq? If they are bugging you and bothering you with the luxuries of life, just release them. And Rasulullah, he does not do anything from his own, so he did not take that advice. But Allah sided with the opinion of Umar ibn Khattab, and he revealed this ayah. The next ayah, verse 29, Allah says, وَإِن كُنتُنَّ تُرِدْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ. And if you, O wives of Rasulullah, if you desire Allah and His Messenger, وَالدَّارَ الْآخِرَةِ, and if you want Jannah, if you want Akhirah, if you don't want dunya wa zinat al-dunya and the glitter glamour of dunya, but you want Akhirah, you want Jannah, and you want Allah and His Messenger, the ridha of Allah and the ridha of His Messenger, if you want that, فَإِنَّ اللَّهَ عَدَّ لِلْمُحْسِنَاتِ مِنْكُنَّ أَجْرًا عَظِيمًا. Then Allah has made for the muhsinat, for the righteous woman, from amongst you, a great, great ajr, great azim, great reward, which is Jannah, the maqam, ummahatul mu'mineen, azwaj al-mutahharat, the pious, pure wives of the Prophet. You have a big, high maqam, which no other woman will have. And that's why Allah says, the next ayah, verse number 30, Ya Nisa and Nabi, oh you the woman of the Prophet, meaning, oh you the wives of the Prophet, Man ya'ti minkunna bifahishatin mubayyinah. If any one of you comes with a big, big fahisha, a clear immorality, profanity, yudha'af laha al-adhab, your adhab will be doubled, multiplied, that thing doubled, multiplied twice your adab. Why? Because you are on a very high pedestal. You are not like an average woman out there. You are on a very high maqam. You are known as the wife of Rasulullah. You are known as the mother of the believers. So you cannot afford to have any fahisha. You cannot afford to have any kind of mistake. You have to watch yourself, watch your dignity, watch your character, watch your personality. Be careful and mindful of what is going on in your life, and don't try to, because if you do something wrong or bad, you're going to malign and tarnish the house of Rasulullah. You're going to attack the integrity of the Prophet ﷺ. And if the integrity of the Prophet is attacked, then the kuffar and the mushrikeen of Mecca will attack him and say he's no good for a prophet, because look, his wives are like this, his household is like this. وَكَانَ ذَلِكَ اللَّهَ يَسِيرًا. And that is very easy for Allah to double the punishment for you or the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. Meaning Allah is giving a very stern warning, very strong warning, that look, if you don't put your act together, if you don't behave properly, or you the wives of Rasulullah, then Allah will have a great punishment for you. And also beware, O you, the wives of Prophet ﷺ, that conduct yourself, have your character, behavior checked in balance here on earth, in Medina, in everywhere, that you do not bring defame, defamation onto the Prophet ﷺ and his character and his house, because you are linked to him through marriage. So any finger pointed towards you, the wives of Rasulullah, is like a finger pointed towards the Prophet ﷺ. That is why in Surah Nur we dealt with the Waqiatul Ifk, the story of the Aisha Anha, how they attacked with blasphemy upon her, and they were trying to do that and increase that, because they knew that if this thing gets really, really manifest, then it will bring the house of the Prophet down, it will bring the integrity of the Prophet down, and then the whole 9 yards, it will bring the Quran down and bring Akhirah and Deen and everything. Then people will not be believing in the Deen. That is why the integrity of the Prophet and his household integrity is very important, because he is the beholder of Wahi. He is the bringer of the revelation of Allah. And revelation is Kalam of Allah. And the Kalam of Allah is very, very precious, very, very special. So then the next ayah, Allah says, 31, وَمَنْ يَقْنُتْ مِنْكُنَّ لِلَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ وَتَعْمَلْ صَالِحًا نُؤْتِيهَا أَجْرَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهَا رِزْقًا كَرِيمًا. And whoever amongst you devoutly obeys Allah and His Messenger. Yaqnut, qanit means someone who secludes in an area, like you're doing i'tikaf, you're isolated, secluded in an area and worshipping Allah. Like Allah said to Maryam alayhi salam, Ya Maryam, uqnuti, O Maryam, worship Allah, devote yourself to Allah. And that's why she was there in the temple of Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and devoting herself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in service, in obedience and worship to Allah. So Allah is saying to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ that whoever from amongst you yaqnut, devotes to Allah and His Messenger, وَتَعْمِلْ صَالِحًا, and then she does righteous good deeds also, نُؤْتِيهَا أَجْرَهَا مَرَّتَيْنِ, we will give her the reward 2 times, double time. Just like the previous ayah, Allah said, if you bring a fash, if you bring an immoral act or sin, then Allah will punish you, double punishment here and akhirah. And similarly, when it comes to good, Allah is saying He'll double the good for you in this dunya and akhirah. وَأَعْتَدْنَا لَهَا رِزْقًا كَرِيمًا, and we have made for them a very great, noble provision. 32, Ya Nisa Nabi lastunna kahad min an-nisa. Like I said earlier, that Allah is saying, oh, you, the wives of the Prophet, you're not like any equal woman out there. You're not like an average woman out there on the street. Lastunna, you are not at all. Kahad min an-nisa. You're not like any one of the women out there. An average woman may do something wrong that is different, it's treated equally. But you are a wife of Rasulullah, so for you, the punishment is double, and for you, the reward is also double, because you are the spouse and wife of Rasulullah, and you have a great reward for the extra effort you're doing to maintain the household of Rasulullah and the chastity and integrity of the house of Rasulullah. إن اتقيتن فلا تخضعن بالقول, and if you fear Allah, if you really fear and devote to Allah, then do not be soft in your speech. فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٌ. Don't be soft in your speech. I mean, don't beautify your voice. Don't make your voice so beauty and melodious, and talk to them in a hard voice if you are talking to them. So that if you do that in a beautiful voice, then the one who has disease in the heart, like the munafiqeen and any other men out there, non-mahram men out there, they will begin to speak with you. They'll begin to get attracted to you, and you are a wife of Rasulullah, so you, hasha lillah, may Allah save and protect you that you are engaged with any man out there. وَقُلْنَا قَوْلًا مَعْرُوفًا, and say to anybody a word that is ma'ruf, speech, meaning do not do useless speech, vain speech. And secondly, if you do have to speak to anyone, then speak just firm and to the point and concise. Do not go around beating the bushes, or do not go around talking. 33, Surah Ahzaab, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى, and stay in your houses, you, the wives of the Rasul. Allah is directly saying to the wives of Rasul that stay in your houses and do not get out of that house, and do not show off. Tabarruj means show off or exposure, like the people of the Jahiliyyah, that they used to go out and in not an appropriate manner, and not appropriate clothing. And also they used to have these necklaces or jewelry, and that would make sounds, or anklets, so as they're walking is making sound. So that is the tabarruj. And also tabarruj here means beautification of your body and showing exposure of your body. This is in line to Rasulullah, to the incident between Umar Khattab and Rasulullah, that Rasulullah, I mean, Umar ibn Khattab said to Rasulullah that, Ya Rasulullah, why don't you tell your wives to do hijab, to do jilbab, to cover up? Because, every bar and fajr comes to your house, every good and evil person comes to your house, and they have people are all kinds of people. The ayat of hijab had not been revealed yet. Now they're being revealed, in Surah Ahzaab. So before that, Allah is warning them and telling the wives of the Rasul Sallallahu that, do not get out of the house and don't show off the used to do in the days of Jahiliyyah, ignorant days of Mecca. وَأَقِمْنَا الصَّلَاةَ, and establish the prayer, وَأَتِينَا الزَّكَاةَ, and give charity, meaning whatever Rasul gives you from that, also give the charity as zakat. وَأَطِعْنَا اللَّهَ رَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Messenger. إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ, verily Allah desires, لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ, He desires to remove the abomination and the impurity and the mistakes from you, all you, the Ahl al-Bayt, or you, the people of the house of the Prophet Sallallahu. وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا, and Allah wants to purify you, complete purification. وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, and remember what is recited in your houses, the verses of Allah and wisdom. إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ لَطِيفًا خَبِيرًا, verily Allah is subtle and well acquainted of what you do. 35. This ayah was revealed because a group of women came to Rasulullah and said, Ya Rasulullah, everything in the Quran is about mu'mineen, the men, rijal. There's nothing for us. What is the reward for us? What are we women doing? What is there for us? Why doesn't Allah talk about the women also? So when they spoke this to Rasulullah, then Allah sent Jibreel with this ayah, and Rasulullah recited to these women this ayah: Innal Muslimina wal Muslimat wal Mu'minina wal Mu'minat wal Qanitina wal Qanitat wal Sadiqina wal Sadiqat wal Sabirin wal Sabirat والخاشعين والخاشعات والمتصدقين والمتصدقات والصائمين والصائمات والحافظين فروجهم والحافظات والذاكرين الله كثيرا والذاكرات أعد الله لهم مغفرة وأجرا عظيما. Every quality here is mentioned, both men and women. The woman pronoun is used, which is alif and ta, alif ta at. Whenever any quality is mentioned about a believer, you just add to it just alif and ta, it becomes for a female, for the woman. So that is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is referring to over here, that verily the Muslims, the submitters to Allah, Muslimin and Muslimat, the woman believers and the the women submitters and the male submitters, and the woman believers and the male believers, and the male devoted to prayers and the woman devoted to prayers, and the male truthful and the female truthful, and the male patient ones and the female patient ones, and the male fearing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the female fearing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the male giving charity ones and the female giving charities, and the male fasting person and the female fasting person, and the male guarding their private parts and the female guarding their private parts, and the male making a lot of zikr of Allah and the female that are making a lot of zikr of Allah. All of these male, female, Allah says, Adallahu lahum maghfiratan wa ajran azima. Allah has made for them a forgiveness and a great reward in Jannah. وما كان لمؤمن ولا مؤمن إذا قضى الله ورسوله أمرا أن يكون لهم الخيرة من أمرهم. Verse number 36, Surah Ahzaab. Allah is referring to the incident of Zainab bin Jahsh, the cousin of Rasulullah. Rasulullah had this adopted son, Zayd bin Haritha. So Rasulullah sent the proposal of Zayd bin Haritha to Zainab bin Jahsh. Initially, she became very happy. She thought that, Rasulullah is proposing to me to marry. So yeah, I want to marry. And she wanted to marry Rasulullah. But then it was told her, no, it's not Rasulullah who wants to marry you. It is his adopted son, Zayd bin Haritha. And then she said something like this, that slave. And the person said, no, he's no longer a slave. Remember, Rasulullah freed him. He's a free man, but he used to be a slave. So she made a face out of it. She's like, I don't want to marry a slave. I want to marry the Prophet Sallallahu. So Allah revealed this ayah in response to that, meaning she did not want to marry Zayd bin Haritha, but Rasulullah said, no, I want you to marry. And so he ordered her. He sent the message to Zayd bin Jahsh and Zainab bin Jahsh, and he said that I, as the Prophet Sallallahu, I am ordering you to marry Zayd bin Harith, because Zayd bin Harith had told Rasulullah that he wants to marry, and so that's why Rasulullah proposed him in the marriage, and he said that he said that Zainab will be the right wife for you, and he told Zainab that Zayd will be the right husband for you. But Zainab bin Jahsh did not like Zayd, and she therefore didn't accept in the beginning. But then when this ayah was revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Rasul recited this ayah, then she said she will not disobey Rasul and the order of Rasul, and then she did marry and ended up marrying Zayd bin Haris. And that's what Allah is saying. وَمَا كَانَ لِمُؤْمِنٍ وَلَا مُؤْمِنٍ. And it is not for a believing man or a believing woman. إِذَا قَضَى اللَّهُ رَسُولُهُ. If Allah and His Messenger have decided something, amran, any affair, any issue, if they have decided, meaning they decided the marriage of you and Zainab is decided, then there is not befitting for the believing men and women أن يكون لهم الخيرة. خيرة from خيار. خيار means option, choice, meaning the believing men and women have no choice. If Allah and His Messenger have decided some affair for them, they have no choice. They have to follow that. This is ta'ah. This is obedience for the Messenger and obedience for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يَعْصِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولُهُ. And whoever disobeys Allah and His Messenger, فَقَدْ ضَلَّ ضَلَالًا مُبِينًا. Then indeed they have strayed into a clear, grave error and mistake. 37. وَإِذْ تَقُولُ الَّذِي أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَأَنْعَمْتَ عَلَيْهِ أَمْسِكْ عَلَيْكَ زَوْجَكَ وَاتَّقِ اللَّهَ وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ مَا اللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ وَتَخْشَى النَّاسَ وَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَنْ تَخْشَاهُ فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا وَطَرًا زَوَّجْنَاكَهَا لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ حَرَجٌ فِي أَزْوَاجِ أَدْعِيَائِهِمْ إِذَا قَضَوْا مِنْهُنَّ وَطَرًا وَكَانَ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ مَفْعُولًا. This ayah was revealed. This ayah is revealed again about Zainab bin Jahsh and Zayd bin Haritha as they got married, but it is mentioned in the seerah that their marriage was not a fruitful one. They were always having issues and problems, and Zayd bin Harisa would come to Rasul and complain about Zainab bin Jahsh, and Zainab bin Jahsh would come to Rasul and complain. So it was a very rocky marriage right from the beginning. Of course, she did not want it, but she did. So here. And then, at the end, Rasul, he tried to counsel both of them, and this went for many days and months. Some riwayat say it was 6 months, some say even more than that, a year or more. But anyway, after that, at the end, Rasul said to Zayd bin Harisa, if it's not really working out between you two, then, just divorce her and give her talaq. And he did release her. He did give talaq to Zainab bin Jahsh, and she became a free man. She became a free woman, and then she was in her iddah. And that is why, because the marriage didn't work out. So this incident is also a lesson that you try your best to make the marriage work. You keep working hard and hard, counseling, mediation, arbitration. But ultimately, if it's not going to work, then there is no choice but to separate. But you separate with peace and tranquility and good akhlaq and manners, not with harshness. Unfortunately, today, the way divorce is done, that people become enemies of each other. Both spouses, they almost become enemies with each other, hatred, animosity, jealousy, fighting, bickering, whatnot, and treachery. But that is not the sunnah of Rasulullah, that if the talaq has to happen, it has to be a mutual agreement and in a good way and in good, polite kindness. And even if there's any children in between the husband and wife, then remember that each one of the divorced husband and wife, they are father or mother of their children, so they might have to sometimes interact because of the children, for the children's marriage, for the children's happiness, for the children's college, job, things like that. There might be some interaction. So therefore, even though they're non-mahram now because of the divorce, but still they should be in good speaking terms and politeness and kindness and good akhlaq. So here, this ayah, then Allah refers to that incident that Zayd bin Haris gave divorce to Zainab bin Jahsh, and then she had her iddah, and then her iddah finished. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly married Rasulullah to Zainab bin Jahsh, which was the original desire of Zainab bin Jahsh in the beginning. She didn't want to marry Zayd bin Haritha, she wanted to marry Rasulullah. So Allah granted her wish, and here Allah ordered Rasulullah in this ayah, in Surah Ahzaab, Surah 33, verse 37. Allah ordered Rasulullah, in fact, not order, but Allah said, "Oh Rasulullah, I, as Allah, marry you to Zainab bin Jahsh." And when this ayah was revealed, Rasulullah said, all the marriages that I did besides this marriage, all the wives that I married through their awliya, through their wali, through their guardian. The only one that I did not marry with her guardian is Zainab bin Jahsh, because Allah married me to her. How do we know that Allah married her? Is this word that Allah uses, zawwajnakaha. Zawwajna, meaning we married you, O Muhammad sallam, to Zainab. Meaning nobody's going to come and marry you to Zainab. I, as Allah, the creator, the master, I'm marrying you. Why? And in fact, this is a marriage that the non-Muslims and the enemies of Islam attack on the integrity of Rasulullah. They say that, oh, look, God, your God is so cruel and evil. He married your prophet to the wife, through the divorcee or ex-wife of his son, Zayd bin Haritha. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is doing this on purpose, deliberately, to tell the world and humanity that the adopted son is never, ever equal to the blood son. Remember, the blood son's wife is haram for marriage, abadiyah, forever, ever. Meaning, even if the son dies and the wife of the son is alive, the father-in-law cannot marry his daughter-in-law even after the death of the son, and because she is like a daughter to them. It's like incest. It's like marrying your own daughter. That is for the blood son. And that is why that is known as mahram through zawaj. She is not your daughter by blood, by link of family ties, but she is your daughter, like your daughter, through the aqd al-nikah of your son that he did. And that is to protect, as we already covered this in Surah Nisa about who is forbidden in marriage and all that. We also covered that in Surah Nur. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that, look, He wants to teach humanity a lesson that, and already in the beginning of Surah Ahzaab, Allah talked about it, that your adopted sons are not like your sons. And that is why the other thing mentioned, besides marriage, that you can marry the wife of your adopted son, whether he is alive or he's dead. As long as he has divorced her, you can marry this to show that. And the other thing Allah did for adopted sons is that they cannot inherit automatically from the father, from the adopted father. Because like the blood sons and the blood daughters, they can automatically inherit. You don't need a wasiyah for that. It's Allah has already made the wasiyah in the Quran, Surah Nisa. We covered that already. So blood sons and blood daughters, they automatically inherit from their father's will. But an adopted son does not inherit anything automatically unless the father or the mother, adopted father or mother, has given a will, has written a will that gives this portion to my adopted son after my death. If that will is there. If that will is not there, then nothing will be given to them. So they are not sharik in the miras, adopted son. This is to prove to the world that, look, adopted son is never, you're just adopting somebody, you're taking care of them. They can never take the place of a blood son. And that is why it's tradition and culture that that the Quraysh had in their Jahiliyyah days, and Allah rectified that, reconciled that, and purified the ummah to show them that this is a Jahiliyyah custom and ritual, nothing from deen, nothing from Sharia, nothing from the divine law such as that. So here Allah SWT tells us, and remember, O Muhammad SAW, when you said to one on whom Allah had bestowed His favor upon him and bestowed favor, keep your wife in fear of Allah, while you can see within yourself that which Allah is to disclose. What this means, disclose, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had sent Jibreel Islam already ahead of time. Before Zayd would give divorce to Zainab bin Jahsh, Jibreel Islam had already come and informed him that you will be marrying Zainab bin Jahsh. And the futuristic event was informed to him preemptively. But Rasulullah did not want to disclose that or open that to Zayd bin Haris or Zainab bin Jahsh. For shyness, for anything you want to say, haya, and also because he felt it's not a good thing to inform and say this, and it will create a lot of ruckus in society. And Allah is saying that, وَتُخْفِي فِي نَفْسِكَ, and you hide in yourself مَا اللَّهُ مُبْدِيهِ, what Allah wants to expose it. Because وَتَخْشَى النَّاسِ, you fear the human beings, or or not fear, but here it means that you are shy and embarrassed of the human beings, that what will they think about this whole marriage and this issue. وَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَن تَخْشَى, it is more befitting that you fear Allah and tell the people the truth and expose to them what the reality is. فَلَمَّا قَضَى زَيْدٌ مِنْهَا, so when Zayd had no longer any need for her, وَطَرَى, and he had divorced her, زَوَّجْنَاكَ, we, Allah, married her to you. Amazing. The only marriage that Allah performed for Rasulullah in the Quran is the marriage of Zainab bin Jahsh. All the other marriages were done on earth through human consultation and mutual acceptance of the guardian and the wali. لِكَيْ لَا يَكُونَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ حَرَجٌ. Allah is saying that we married her, Zainab bin Jahsh, to you, O Rasulullah, so that there will be no discomfort, no haraj on the believers. في أزواج أدعيائهم, in the wives of their adopted sons. إذا قضى منهن وطرا, if they have no longer any need from them. Meaning, if the adopted sons have no longer a need, if they have divorced them or if they have died, then those wives are perfectly halal for the father-in-law if they want to. وَكَانَ أَمْرُ اللَّهِ مَفْعُولًا, and this is the affair of Allah, the command of Allah that is accomplished. 38 ما كان على النبي من حرج فيما فرض الله له سنة الله في الذين خلوا من قبل وكان أمر الله مقدرا مقدورا. There is not to be upon the Prophet any discomfort concerning that which Allah has imposed upon him, meaning this rule of marriage with Zainab. This is the established way of Allah with those prophets who have passed on before you, and ever is the command of Allah, destiny and decreed. 39 الذين يبلغون رسالة الله ويخشونه ولا يخشون أحدا إلا الله وكفى بالله حسيبا. All praises are to those people who convey the messages of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and fear him and do not fear anyone but Allah, and sufficient is Allah as an recompense for them, accountant. 40, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them that look, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling them that, you know, your Muhammad sallallahu is not like the father of your sons. ما كان محمد أبا أحد من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله وخاتم النبيين. Muhammad sallallahu is not the father of any one of your sons, meaning he may be like a father figure as a prophet of Allah. He's a father figure to all the men and women in the society, but he's not their blood father or their blood relative. Therefore, they used to say, oh, look, so bad. Muhammad married the daughter-in-law. Muhammad married the daughter-in-law. So Allah is saying that he is not the father of any one of you. من رجالكم ولكن رسول الله خاتم النبيين, but he is a prophet of Allah and the seal of the prophets. This is the ayah where Allah is telling us that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last and final prophet. There is no more prophet to come. Even Isa ibn Maryam, he will come again on earth, but he will not come as a prophet. What a big honor for our prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Meaning Isa alayhi salam is walking on earth and meeting people, and he's saying, I'm not a prophet. I'm just a follower of your prophet. What a subhanallah, what an izzah, what a maqam for us believers. And Isa alayhi salam is meeting me and you, and he's saying, I am following your prophet. Can you imagine that? We are following our prophet, and Isa alayhi salam is following our prophet. Meaning the second coming of Isa alayhi salam is not commissioned as a prophet, but as a ummati of Muhammad sallallahu. Subhanallah. No prophet had this sharaf. No prophet of Allah had this honor, which our prophet Muhammad sallallahu had this honor. What? No prophet had the honor that another ex-prophet is an ummati, a follower of that prophet. This never happened in Ibrahim and Ismail, Ishaq and Yaqub and Yusuf and Dawood, Sulaiman, Musa, Isa. It only happened for our beloved prophet Muhammad sallallahu, that an ex-prophet, yes, an ex-prophet, comes and becomes an ummati of Rasul. What a great accolade and reward and honor for our beloved prophet. And what a great honor for us. We are the ummati of that prophet, where other prophets come in them, they join us. Subhanallah. When Malak al-Maut was taking the ruh of Salih alayhi salam, Prophet Salih, and he informed him that, oh Salih, there's going to come after you a prophet whose ummah will not surpass more than 60 years. We'll have the shortest time span. Because Salih alayhi salam was telling the Malik al-Maut, angel of death, why have you come to take me? I haven't yet finished my job as a prophet. I still have. And the riwayat say that he lived for 120 years or more than that, something between 100, 200 years. So the angel of death is saying that, look, oh Salih alayhi salam, you live such a long life. There's going to be a prophet and an ummah that's going to come after you, which is going to have half your age, half your time on earth. When Salih alayhi salam heard this, he said, I want to be from that ummah. Put me in the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu. Subhanallah. Salih alayhi salam asking the angel, put me in the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu. And the angel of death said, no, your time is up. Allah has sent me to take you, and so you have to come. So something that Salih alayhi salam desired from the angels to be in the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu, Allah granted that automatically to another prophet of Allah, Isa ibn Maryam. Subhanallah. Glorify Allah. Praise Allah. Brothers and sisters, send the darood and salam. Send the salah ala nabi. Salli ala nabi alayhi salam. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik ala Sayyidina Habib Muhammad Mustafa sallam. We are so blessed. Brothers and sisters, you don't realize this. We don't realize this. We don't appreciate this. Just like the gold is only appreciated by a jeweler, a jeweler who knows, who deals with gold. He can tell what's the value of a gold. Similarly, this this value of an ex-prophet being a part of our ummah, this can only be appreciated by someone who really realizes the value of prophecy and prophethood. Subhanallah, we don't appreciate, we don't appraise, we don't really truly value and measure that we are the ummati of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, something that other prophets desired. Other prophets wanted to be in the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We got this for free. We are lucky, you know, we got this without any effort. We are born in Islam, born in the as a Muslim. So we got something as a cake, piece of cake, you know. Other people have to strive hard to get this, you know. Being an ummati of Rasulullah is something that people work hard to get, and we got it for free, piece of cake. That's why we don't cherish it. That's why we don't value it. That's why we don't really take care of it. We need to know what it means to be an ummati of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If we as Muslims knew what it means to be an ummati of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, wallahu al-azim, I swear by Allah, brothers and sisters, we will never disobey Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We will never go against his sunnah. You know how people today casually they say, oh, it's just a sunnah. Oh, come on, brother, leave it. It's just a sunnah. It's not fun. It's just a sunnah. There are prophets who were literally dying to be in the ummah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and to be in the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There were prophets who wanted to do this, and we got it for free. And then we have the audacity and the shamelessness to say, oh, it's just a sunnah. Don't worry about it. We should be dying to fulfill the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Brothers and sisters, we should be following the sunnah of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam foot by foot, step by step. And the Muslims who will be living on earth at the time when Isa alayhi salam comes, they will automatically start doing this. When they'll see, imagine you see Isa alayhi salam eye to eye. You see him, and then you will know the value of Muhammad. Then people at that time, the Muslims living on earth at that time, they will become serious in the Sunnah. Rasulullah, they say, oh man, we better get serious. Look, Isa alayhi salam is saying he's not a prophet. He's just come as a follower. He is a follower of our prophet. We better start following him. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وكان الله بكل شيء عليما. The last words of verse 40, Surah Ahzaab, Allah said, and Allah is ever aware of all things and knows everything. Verse 41, Ya alladhina amanu dhkurullah dhikran kathira. Oh, you believe, remember Allah with much remembrance. Wasabbihu bukratan wa asila, and exalt him and make tasbih of him, glorify him. Bukratan wa asila, you know, evening and morning, morning and evening, every day, morning and evening, make tasbih. This is the ayah, like the previous ayah we talked about yesterday, that proves that we need to do dhikr, azkar, in the morning after Fajr, in the evening after Asr. After Asr is the most blessed time to do dhikr and tasbih and tahmeed of Allah. And after Fajr is the most blessed time until the sunrise to do the dhikr and tasbih and tahmeed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 43, وَهُوَ الَّذِي يُصَلِّي عَلَيْكُمْ وَالْمَلَائِكَةُ لِيُخْرِجَكُم مِّنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ وَكَانَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحِيمًا. It is He, Allah, who confers blessings upon you, and His angels ask Him to do so that He may bring you out from darkness into light, and ever is He to the believers merciful. Tahiyyatuhum yawma yalqawnahu salam. Their greeting on the day of when they meet Him, Allah will be peace, salam. Wa'adda lahum ajran kareem, and Allah has prepared for them a great big reward. 45, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. We have a bug over here, that's why I keep looking over here. Don't worry about it. It's too much. We just need to. The bug is also worshipping Allah. يا أيها النبي إنا أرسلناك شاهدا ومبشرا ونذيرا. Oh, Prophet, oh, you Prophet, indeed we have sent you as a witness and a bringer of good tidings and a warner. And we are sending you as a good news of people. So therefore, that is why you give good news to people and you warn people and you are a witness to them that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there. وَدَاعِيًا إِلَى اللَّهِ بِإِذْنِهِ وَسِرَاجًا مُنِيرًا, and you are the one who invites people to Allah by His permission, and you are a sirajan munira, and you are a lamp that is illuminating. He didn't say shamsun munira because the sunlight rays are very piercing in the eye. It affects and irritates the eye. So Allah is saying Rasulullah is like a siraj munira. He's an illuminating lamp. When you look at him, you get illuminated, you get resist, take it out. Okay, so bring a tissue from there and grab it. So that so Allah is saying that Rasul Sallam is an illuminating lamp that gives radiation of light wherever he is, wherever he meets, whoever is around him. 47. وَبَشِّرِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ بِأَنَّ لَهُم مِّنَ اللَّهِ فَضْلًا كَبِيرًا, and give good tidings to the believers that they will have for them, Allah will have for them a great bounty on the day of judgment. 48. ولا تطع الكافرين والمنافقين ودع أذاهم وتوكل على الله وكفى بالله وكيلا. And do not obey the disbelievers and the hypocrites, but do not harm them, and rely upon Allah, and sufficient is Allah as a disposer of affairs. 49. يا الذين آمنوا إذا نكحتم المؤمنات ثم طلقتموهن من قبل أن تمسوهن فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها ومتعهن وسرعوهن سراحا جميلا. This ayah is about the divorce of those married wives who you do not enter into them, meaning you just do the nikah, and then before you consummate the marriage, before you start living with them, you do the talaq. So that's what it means, an tamassuhunna min qabli an tamassuhunna, before you grab them or you sleep with them or anything, all of that meaning that comes together. Wrap it around, fold it. So فما لكم عليهن من عدة تعتدونها, and then therefore there will be no harm for you to do that. You have no iddah for them. Iddah is only for the married wife whom you have consummated in marriage. And remember, we already talked about that iddah in Surah Baqarah. Allah mentioned that. So here Allah is saying that these wives that you married and did not enter into them, there is no iddah for them. The day of the talaq, they are free to remarry anyone they want to. They don't have to wait for 3 months or 3 cycles. فَمَتِّعْهُنَّ وَسَرِّحُنَّ سَرَاحًا جَمِيلًا, so provide for them and give them a gracious release so that they are not in any restriction. Verse 50. يا أيها النبي إنا حللنا لك أزواجك اللاتي آتيت أجورهن وما ملكت يمينك مما أفاء الله عليك وبنات عمك وبنات عماتك وبنات خالك وبنات خالاتك التي حاجرن معك وامرأة مؤمنة إن وهبت نفسها للنبي إن أراد النبي أن يستنكحها خالصة لك من دون المؤمنين قد علمنا ما فرضنا عليهم في أزواجهم وما ملكت أيمانهم لكي لا يكون عليك حرج وكان الله غفورا رحيما. O Prophet ﷺ, indeed we have made lawful to you your wives to whom you have given their due compensation, meaning the meher, and those your right hand possesses from what Allah has returned to you as captives and daughters. This is referring to Maria Qubtiya, Maria the Coptic, that came as a captive in the battle that they won from the Egyptians and tribes. So he married her. And the daughters of your paternal uncles, and the daughters of your paternal aunts, and the daughters of your paternal uncles. Remember, this is another ayah talking about marriage and who is halal and haram in marriage, similar to the ayah in Surah Nisa, where Allah over there mentioned regarding which women are allowed to marry. Here he's referring to the Prophet ﷺ, and from the male side, what is allowed: the daughters of maternal uncles, maternal aunts, and those who immigrate with you as a believing woman, if she gives herself to the Prophet ﷺ, and if the Prophet wishes to marry her. Many scholars say that this is referring to Hani, that she wanted to marry her Rasul Sallam, but she had not migrated. So then Allah revealed this ayah and he married her after that. Many say that this refers to Sauda bin Zam'a, the other wife of Rasul that he married. Both riwayats are there amongst the scholars. And so Allah is referring to that, we certainly know that we have made obligatory upon them concerning their wives and those that right hand possess. But it's for you in order that they'll be upon you no discomfort, and ever is Allah forgiving and merciful. 51. ترجي من تشاء منهن وتؤوي إليك من تشاء ومن ابتغيت ممن عزلت فلا جناح عليك ذلك أدنى أن تقر عينهن ولا تحزن وارضين بما آتيتهن كلهن والله يعلم ما في قلوبكم وكان الله عليما حليما. You, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, may put aside whom you will of them, or take to yourself whom you will, and any that you desire of those wives from you temporarily separate. There is no blame upon you in returning her. That is more suitable, that they should be content and not grieve, and that they should be satisfied with what you have given them, all of them. And Allah knows what is in your hearts, and ever is Allah knowing and forbearing. 52. لا يحل لك النساء من بعد ولا أن تبدل بهن من أزواج ولو عجبك حسنهن إلا ما ملكت يمينك وكان الله على كل شيء رقيبا. Not lawful to you, Muhammad are any additional women after this, meaning after this last marriage of Rasul, he was not allowed to marry anyone after that. So Allah had closed the door, a gate for him to marry any further. As you know, in Surah Nisa, Allah mentioned that any Muslim male can marry 4 at a time, not more than 4. If they want a 5th one, they have to divorce one of the 4. But for Rasul, he was exempt from this for restriction, and that's why he had 9 wives, or according to some scholars 11 wives. So that is why ma malakat yaminuk, and whatever your right hand possess, meaning that he had Maria Qubtiya. Some scholars are of the difference, the Sira scholars are of different opinion. That was Maria Qubtiya, Maria the God, was she a wife of Rasulullah, or was she one of the captives, and so a person who was in the captivity of Rasulullah. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is saying that this is it, and there's no more wife for you to be married, even if their beauty were pleasing to you, except that your right hand possesses, and if Allah over all things is an observer. 53 يا الذين آمنوا لا تدخلوا بيوت النبي إلا أن يؤذن لكم إلى طعام غير ناظرين إنه ولكن إذا دعيتم فادخلوا فإذا طعمتم فانتشروا ولا مستأنسين لحديث إن ذلكم كان يؤذي النبي ويستحي منكم والله لا يحسي من الحق وإذا سألتموهن متاعا فاسألوهن من وراء حجاب ذلكم أطهر لقلوبكم وقلوبهن وما كان لكم أن تؤذوا رسول الله ولا أن تنكحوا أزواجه من بعده أبدا إن ذلك كان عند الله عظيما. Very heavily loaded ayah with a lot of ahkam, a lot of rules in it, and we don't have time, so we'll go quickly. Just mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala here is referring to the house of Rasulullah, his household, that people would come and they would just come in anytime, anywhere. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now revealing the order that you should seek permission before you enter. The incident happened that people would come and go, and sometimes people would come and sit there for a long time. And therefore, there was one incident where a person was sitting there, and Rasulullah got up 3 times as if giving an indication to him that, why don't you leave? I need to rest now. But the person kept sitting and did not take the sign from Rasulullah. Rasulullah even walked till the door to give him a sign that you can come now to the door and leave. But he didn't. So then Rasulullah came back. Then he went again. Then he came 3 times. He did that. And then he sat down. So therefore, but he shied away, saying bluntly to the person, can you just leave? So that's what Allah is saying. That you first, number one, you should seek permission when you come into the house of Rasulullah, and when you do get permission to come inside, then leave when you're done with whatever you want to talk. Don't sit around there talking and trying to hear other people's talk as people are coming in and going. People are coming. He's a prophet of Allah. People are coming with their masail, whatever issues they have and questions and this and that. And that's what Allah is saying, Inna dhalikum kana yu'dhi an-nabiyyu, and that used to hurt the Prophet, that you would come and sit in his house for long hours and he could not rest. For yastahi minkum, and he used to feel shy from you that asked you to leave. Wallahu la yahsi min al-haq, and Allah does not shy from the haq, and He's asking you to leave. وَإِذَا سَأَلْتُمُوهُنَّ مَتَاعًا فَاسْأَلُوا مِنْ وَرَاءِ حِجَابٍ, and if you ask him for something, then ask him from behind a hijab partition. That is the adab and ihtiram, meaning for Rasulullah. وَمَا كَانَ لَكُمْ أَن تُؤْذُوا رَسُولَ اللَّهِ, and it is not befitting for you that you hurt the Rasulullah. And then there was a Sahabi, he said that, when the Prophet dies, I will marry his wives. And there was another person who said that there's another riwayah that tells us that Aisha, there was not, the ayats of hijab had not come yet. There was no parda, there was no hijab until this ayah came in wara hijab. So therefore, when people would come into the house of Rasulullah, there will be no curtain, no hijab, and so the wives of Rasulullah would sometimes come and present for hospitality, anything like tea, coffee, or anything. So one time Aisha, she came and brought something, and there was this Sahabi sitting with Rasulullah, and he said, Ya Rasulullah, you don't worry about it. And he said, what? He said, when you pass away, when you die, I will marry her. I'll marry Aisha, and I'll take care of her, and I'll take and all that. Allah revealed this ayah, this to inform the Muslimin that you cannot marry the wives of Rasulullah. Remember the previous ayah in Surah Ahzaab, we talked about that. Allah said that Ummahatul Mu'mineen, that, you the wives of Rasulullah, you are the mother of the believers. And here Allah says, وَلَا تَنْكِحُوا أَزْوَاجُ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ أَبَدًا. Abada means forever, ever. Until their death, you cannot marry the wives of Rasulullah. They will die as a widow. Any other widow out there in the world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allowed that the widow can remarry and be married again. But the widows of Rasulullah were forbidden from remarriage from this ayah 53 in Surah Ahzaab. Inna dhalikum kana inda Allah azima. Really, this is with Allah a very huge thing, that you would try to marry the wife of Rasulullah. So Allah protected the chastity and modesty of the house of Rasulullah, that He forbade the wives from marrying again. Because remember, in Surah Baqarah and in Surah Rum and other places, Allah said that husbands and wives are like libas, close to each other, intimate. So imagine if somebody else married the wife of Rasulullah after his death, he will be intimate with the wife, with the woman who was so intimate with Rasulullah. So Allah protected and preserved the modesty and haya of the house of Rasulullah by forbidding men to come close close to any of these women until the day of judgment, until the death. إن تبدوا شيئا وتخفوه فإن الله كان بكل شيء عليما. Whether you reveal a thing or conceal it, indeed Allah is ever all things knowing. 55 لا جناح عليهن في آبائهن ولا أبنائهن ولا إخوانهن ولا أبناء إخوانهن ولا أبناء أخواتهن ولا نسائهن ولا ما ملكت أيمانهن واتقين الله إن الله كان على كل شيء شهيدا. There is no blame upon women concerning their fathers or their sons or their brothers or their brothers' sons or their sisters' sons or their women, those who their right hand possess, and fear Allah. This is regarding the hijab and the libas of the woman, that she doesn't have to have hijab in front of these male relatives. They are mahram for them. 56 إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. Indeed Allah confers his blessing upon, meaning indeed Allah sends his prayers, his salah, his dua upon his salutations on the Prophet ﷺ, and the malaika, they send the durood and salam Rasul ﷺ. So Allah is asking us, me and you, Ya alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. Oh, you believe, pray on the Prophet ﷺ, send your blessings on Rasulullah ﷺ. So we should recite one time right now, because this is an order. Every time you read this ayah in the Quran, you have to stop and pause and say the durood Ibrahimiyya and the salah Ibrahimiyya that we do in our daily prayers. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. In 57 إن الذين يؤذون الله ورسوله لعنهم الله في الدنيا والآخرة وأعد لهم عذابا مهينا. Indeed, those who abuse Allah and His Messenger, or who hurt and irritate Allah and His Messenger, Allah has cursed them in this world and the hereafter, and prepare for them a humiliating punishment. 58 والذين يؤذون المؤمنين والمؤمنات بغير ما اكتسبوا فقد احتملوا بهتانا وإثما مبينا. And those who harm the believing men and women without any reason, what they have earned certainly in their hereafter a big slander and big manifest sin. 59 يا أيها النبي قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن. This is the ayah about hijab. In fact, this is the ayah about the burqa, the jilbab. Jilbab is like a long dress, loose dress that covers your inner garments, inner thing. You could be wearing a t-shirt and jeans or something or anything, but you have the jilbab on top that covers the contours of the body for the Muslim woman. And this is incumbent on all the women, not just the wives of Rasulullah and not just their daughters. There's a misconception in some women, Muslim women, that, oh, this ayah is only for the wives of Rasulullah, it is only for the daughters also. No, it is for every woman, as Allah says, وَالنِّسَاءِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ, that, oh Prophet, tell your wives and tell your daughters and tell all the women of Islam, yudnina alayhinna, yudnina meaning that they should put an over garment and over covering that is loose and that is not revealing. من جلابيبهن, ذلك أدنى يعرفن فلا يؤذين, that is better and suitable for them, it will be known and it will not be abused, meaning the body will not be exposed, so they will not be hurt or harmed by men who may see them or their body. وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا, and Allah is forgiving and merciful, meaning whatever you've done in the past is forgiven and Allah is merciful. Don't worry about the past, but from now on, from this day, from this ayah, you all have to do that. And that is what is applying to all the Muslim women today. She cannot say that, oh, they were not, you don't have to do it right away, you can take some time. That was only for those people because the wahi was being revealed at that time in Medina. So that's why that was an exception for them. This ayah is not applicable to every Muslim woman today, because the moment she's a Muslim and she's born in Islam, she has to do this automatically. 60 لئن لم ينتهي المنافقون والذين في قلوبهم مرض والمرجفون في المدينة لنغرينك بهم ثم لا يجاورونك فيها إلا قليلا. If the hypocrites and those in whose hearts are diseases and those who spread rumors in Medina do not cease, we will surely incite you against them, and they will not remain your neighbors then except for a little. This is referring to the munafiqeen who are trying to create discord amongst the believers in Medina. Mal'unina, they are cursed. أينما ثقفوا أخذوا وقتلوا تقتيلا. Wherever they are found, they will be seized and captured and massacred completely. سنة الله الذين في الذين خلوا من قبل. This is the established way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for those who passed before them, who hurt their prophets. So Allah did that to them also, and He will do to you, O munafiqeen, too. وَلَن تَجِدْ سُنَّةَ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا, and you will not find for the way of Allah to be changing. 63 يسألك الناس عن الساعة, they ask you about the day of judgment, the hour, when the hour will come. قل إنما علمه عند الله, say the knowledge of that is with Allah. وما يدريك لعل الساعة تكون قريبة, and what do you think or perceive that the hour is near, meaning it is very near. 64. Inna Allah la'ana al-kafirin wa adda lahum sa'ira. Allah has cursed the disbelievers indeed and prepared for them a big blaze. Khalidina fi abada. They'll be living in it forever. La yajiduna wali wa nasira. They will not find for them a protector or helper in there. 66. يوم تقلب وجوههم في النار يقولون ليتنا أطعنا الله وأطعنا رسولا. The day or the day of judgment when their faces will be turning to the fire and they'll say, how we wish we had obeyed Allah and His Messenger back in dunya, but now it's too late. وَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا إِنَّا أَطَعْنَا سَادَتَنَا وَكُبَرَانَا فَضَلُّونَا سَبِيلًا. And they'll say, well, Lord, we indeed obeyed our masters, our dignitaries, our elite people, and they led us astray in the way. رَبَّنَا آتِهِمْ ضِعْفَيْنِ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ وَلْعَنْهُمْ لَعْنًا كَبِيرًا. Oh Allah, Lord, give them double punishment because they, and curse them a great curse because they deviated, they took us away. 69. يا الذين آمنوا لا تكونوا كالذين آذوا موسى فبرأه الله مما قالوا وكان عند الله وجيها. Oh, you believe, do not be like those people who abused Musa, who irritated Musa, the Bani Israel people. Then Allah cleared him of what they said, and he is in the sight of Allah most distinguished. Wajiha, very respectable, honorable. They used to blame and accuse Musa alayhi salam that he has some skin disease and skin, and he doesn't want to come and swim with us and take off his clothes. So and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala exposed Musa alayhi salam and saved him, and then they were all shut up because they realized that, oh no, he doesn't have any skin disease, he's perfectly fine, because they saw him without the clothes. There's an incident behind that, but we don't have time to talk about it right now. 70. يا الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا. Oh, you believe, fear Allah and say a word, straight to the point. Do not beat around the bushes. Don't go here and there wishy-washy, but be firm, be straight, be truthful, and do not try to disguise in your talk. 71. يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم. Meaning, if you say a word straight to the point, if you are truthful, then Allah will amend your deeds and forgive your sins, and whoever obeys Allah and His Messenger has certainly attained a great attainment. 72. إنا أردنا الأمانة على السماوات والأرض والجبال فأبين أن يحملنها وأشفقن منها وحملها الإنسان إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about this amana, this trust that He has given us. He offered this amana, this trust, the Quran, and the responsibility of deen. He offered that to the heavens and the earth and the mountains, and they all shied away. They all said, big makhluk, big creations of Allah, they shied away from this responsibility of Quran and Islam and deen and Tawheed, and أن يحملنها وأشفقنا منها, and they shied away from it. They said, we cannot do this, Ya Allah. وحملها الإنسان, and insan took this responsibility of La ilaha illallah. إنه كان ظلوما جهولا. Verily this insan is unjust and ignorant, meaning unjust that he does not fulfill the responsibility of Quran, responsibility of Tawheed on earth, and Jahula is ignorant because does not realize that they'll be questioned on the day of judgment, and also Jahil in the sense is ignorant of what is his responsibility here on earth with this Quran, what they're supposed to do. Imagine the mountains shying away from the responsibility of Quran, and we have taken it, but we're not fulfilling it to the full level and promise in it. 73. Last ayah of Surah Ahzaab. لِيُعَذِّبَ اللَّهُ الْمُنَافِقِينَ وَالْمُنَافِقَاتِ وَالْمُشْرِكِينَ وَالْمُشْرِكَاتِ وَيَتُوبَ اللَّهُ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ غَفُورًا رَحِيمًا. Last ayah, Allah summarizes all the three categories of people: the kafirin, the munafiqeen, and the muslimin, mu'minin. Allah says, verily He will punish the hypocrite men and women, and the men and women who associate partners with Allah, the mushrikeen, and Allah will accept the repentance from the believing men and women, and Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. Alhamdulillah, we finished Surah Ahzab. Surah Saba, Surah 34, a Makki surah revealed in Mecca, and mainly talks about the mushrikeen of Mecca and Tawheed and Risala and Akhirah, and belief in the righteous people and the bad people and what's going to happen to them. And its reason it's called Saba is talking about Sheba, the queendom of Sheba, Queen Bilqis, about whom we already talked about previously in Surah Naml. Allah talked about it also there. And so therefore we already discussed in detail, and similar thing is discussed here about Sulaiman al-Islam and his power and with the jinn and all that in this surah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Verse number 1, 34:1. Alhamdulillah alladhi lahu ma fi as-samawati wa ma fi al-ard wa lahu al-hamdu fi al-akhirah wa huwa al-hakim al-khabir. All praise and thanks belongs to Allah, to whom belongs whatever is in the heaven and the earth, and to him belongs the praise in the hereafter, and he is the wise and acquainted. Ya'lamu, number 2, Surah Saba, Surah 34, number 2. يعلم ما يلج في الأرض وما يخرج منها وما ينزل من السماء وما يعرج فيها وهو الرحيم الغفور. Allah knows what penetrates into the earth, whatever goes up to the earth, and whatever emerges from it, and I mean whatever goes down into the earth, into the depth of it, and whatever comes out of it up to the skies. وَمَا يَنزِلُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ, whatever comes down from the skies and whatever goes up to the skies. وَهُوَ الرَّحِيمُ الْغَفُورُ. Allah is talking about His qudra, His power and magnitude, to remind the Quraysh to believe in Allah and the Messenger of Rasulullah. Number 3, Surah Saba. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا لَا تَأْتِينَ السَّاعَةُ, and those who disbelieve, they say this hour will not come, this day of judgment will not come. قُلْ بَلَا وَرَبِّي لَا تَأْتِيَنَّكُمْ عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ. No, definitely tell them this will come surely by the order of your Lord, who knows the unseen, and is the knower of the seen. لَا يَعْزُبُ عَنْهُ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ. Nothing is absent from him, even an atom's weight of thing is not, if it's in the skies and the skies and heavens and earth. وَلَا أَصْغَرَ مِنْ ذَلِكَ, even smaller than that. وَلَا أَكْبَرَ, even bigger than that. إِلَّا فِي كِتَابٍ مُبِينٍ, except that it is in a clear book written, لَوْحٍ مَحْفُوظ, referring to that. Number 4, لِيَجْزِيَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُم مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ, that He may reward those who believe and do righteous good deeds. Those will have forgiveness and noble provision. Number 5, وَالَّذِينَ سَعُوا فِي آيَاتِنَا مُعَاجِزِينَ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ مِّن رِجْزٍ أَلِيمٌ, but those who strive against our verses, seeking to cause failure for them, will be a painful punishment of foul nature on Akhirah. Number 6, وَيَرَى الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْعِلْمَ الَّذِي أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِن رَّبِّكَ هُوَ الْحَقُّ وَيَهْدِي إِلَىٰ صِرَاطِ الْعَزِيزِ الْحَمِيدِ, and those who have been given knowledge see that what is revealed to you from your Lord is the truth, meaning the Quran, and it guides to the path of the exalted and mighty and praiseworthy. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا هَلْ نَدُلُّكُمْ عَلَىٰ رَجُلٍ يُنَبِّئُكُمْ إِذَا مُزِّقْتُمْ كُلَّ مُمَزَّقٍ إِنَّكُمْ لَفِي خَلْقٍ جَدِيدٍ. But those who disbelieve, they said, shall we direct you to a man who will inform you that when you have disintegrated to complete disintegration, you will then be recreating a new creation. This is referring to, rebutting to those Quraysh people in Mecca who used to make fun of Rasulullah and saying, shall we show you a man who talks about that we will be all destroyed and destructed and then we'll be back up again like Akhirah, the life of death. So they used to make mockery and make fun of him. Oh, that's the man that's going. He talks about these things. أفطر الله كذبا به جنة, has he invented about Allah a lie, or is it that he is struck with madness? This is what they used to say, the Quraysh of Mecca. بل الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة في العذاب والضلال البعيد. Allah is saying, rarely those who do not believe in the hereafter will be in a punishment and extreme error because of what they're accusing of Rasulullah. Number 9, أفلم يروا إلى ما بين أيديهم وخلفهم من السماء والأرض إن نشأ نخسف بهم الأرض أو نسقط عليهم كسفا من السماء إن في ذلك لآيات لكل عبد منيب. Then do they not look at what is before them and what is behind them of the heaven and the earth? If we should will, we could cause the earth to swallow them and let fall upon them fragments from the sky. Indeed, that is a sign for every servant turning back to Allah. Meaning Allah is saying all these accusations that they're making against Rasulullah, we would punish them from the earth. The earth can swallow them, or the sky will rain down upon them and destroy them. Number 10, وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا دَاوُودَ مِنَّا فَضْلًا يَا جِبَالُ أَوِّبِي مَعَهُ وَالطَّيْرُ وَأَلَنَّا لَهُ الْحَدِيدَ. Allah is now mentioning about Dawood, the Islam prophet Dawood, what Allah gave him at the bounty. Allah, the biggest bounty Allah gave him is the Zabur, the book of Allah, the Psalms. And then Allah says that the biggest bounty, and the other bounty He gave him is his beautiful voice. Mazamir Dawood is mashhur, is very famous in the riwayah that he was given such a melodious voice, tuning voice, that when he would recite, the mountains and the clouds and the trees would sway. Like we say, jhumri, they are like swaying in melody because of the beautiful voice Dawood al-Islam had, mesmerizing voice. Imagine how these beautiful qaris who read Quran today, we get so mesmerized listening to them. Imagine that, the out of all these qaris, the best is Dawood al-Islam. He will beat all these qurra from that beautiful. وَأَلَنَّا لَهُ الْحَدِيدَ, and we made the iron melt and molten for Dawood al-Islam so that he can build from it body armors. That was another miracle given to him. Number 11, أَنْ أَعْمَلْ صَابِغَاتٍ وَقَدْرٍ فِي السَّرْدِ وَأَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا إِنِّي بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. Allah said to Dawood, make full coats of mail, the body armor mail from this hadith, from this iron, and make from them, precise links that works righteous, and do righteous good deeds here on earth. Indeed, what you do, I am seeing as Allah. Then Allah talks about the son of Dawood, Sulaiman alayhi salam, in verse 12, Surah Saba. وَلِسُلَيْمَانِ الرِّيحُ عُدُوًّا شَهْرٌ وَرَوَاهُ شَهْرٌ. And remember, to Sulaiman alayhi salam, we gave him a miracle of the wind, that a whole month the wind will blow in the morning till evening, and then a whole month the wind will blow from the evening till the morning. Subhanallah, this was, وَصَلْنَا لَهُ غَيْرَ الْقِطْرِ, we made for him molten copper also. وَمِنَ الْجِنِّ, and from the jinns we gave him مَنْ يَعْمَلُ بَيْنَ يَدَيْهِ بِإِذْنِ رَبِّهِ. They used to work for him, they were his slaves and servants working for Sulaiman alayhi salam. وَمَنْ يَزِغْ مِنْهُمْ عَنْ أَمْرِنَا نُذِقْهُ مِنْ عَذَابِ سَعِيرٍ. Whoever deviated from him From our command, we will make them taste the punishment of the blades of the hellfire. 13. يعملون له ما يشاء من محاريب وتماثيل وجفان كالجواب وقدر الراسيات اعملوا على داود شكرا وقليل من عبادي شكور. Again, more examples and miracles of Sulaiman are mentioned here. They made for him what he willed, from the elevated chambers, statues, bowls, like reservoirs, stationary kettles. We said, work, O family of David, in gratitude. اعملوا على داود شكرا means that, O family of David, meaning David and Sulaiman and all your children and family, do the shukr to Allah in deeds, in action. اعملوا, work in to show you are thankful slave of Allah. وَقَلِيلٌ مِنْ عِبَادِي شَكُورٌ, and very few of the people of Allah, the slaves of Allah, are grateful and thankful to Allah. 14. فلما قضينا عليه الموت ما دلهم على موت إلا دابة الأرض تأكل من ساعته فلما خر تبينت الجن أن لو كانوا يعملون الغيب ما لبثوا فيه العذاب مهين. This is referring to the death of Sulaiman Islam. He had a stick and he stand that he used to use to lean on. So he had died, but he was leaning on the stick, and the jinns did not know, because the jinns claimed that we know everything about the future, and Allah tried to disprove them and show them, look, you don't know about the future. Your master, your leader, Sulaiman, died, and his body is all perfectly fine, and it's not decaying, and he is leaning on the stick, and they were going about their work, whatever he told them to do the work, and they were doing that, thinking that he's alive, but he was not. He was dead. He was just stationary and sitting there until the wood of the stick was eaten up by termites, and then the stick fell, obviously, and then Sulaiman Islam fell down. So when he fell, then the jinn realized that, oh, he died a long time ago. He was just resting. So that is what Allah is referring to here in this ayah, that it became clear to the jinn that they did not know the unseen. They did not know that Sulaiman Islam had died. And there's a humiliating punishment for those who disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Verse 15, Surah Saba, لَقَدْ كَانَ لِسَبَأٍ فِي مَسْكَنِهِمْ آيَةٌ. Indeed, for the tribe of the people of Saba, the queendom of Saba, their people, they had a sign in their dwelling place. Meaning, what was their sign? Allah told them that they had gardens of beautiful trees and things and crops and everything. جَنَّتَانِ عَنْ يَمِينٍ وَشِمَالٍ. On right and left, both sides, there were gardens. كُلُوا مِنْ رِزْقِ رَبِّكُمْ وَاشْكُرُوا لَهُ. Eat from the rizq of your Lord, whatever He's given you in these gardens, eat freely, but don't, and give thanks to Him. بَلْدَةٌ طَيِّبَةٌ رَبٌّ غَفُورٌ. A good land for you and a forgiving Lord you have. And remember, we mentioned, Allah already mentioned about these people that they used to worship the sun. They used to do shirk instead of thanking Allah. In Surah Naml, we already talked about that when Allah revealed about those ayats of Queen Sheba. فَأَعْرَضُوا فَأَرْسَلْنَا عَلَيْهِمْ سَيْلَ الْأَرَمِ بَدَّلْنَاهُم بِجَنَّتَيْهِمْ جَنَّتَيْنِ ذَوَاتِ أُكُلٍ خَمْطٍ وَأَصْلٍ وَشَيْءٍ مِّن سِدْرٍ قَلِيلٍ. But they turned away, refusing, so we sent upon them a flood of dam, and we replaced their 2 fields of gardens with gardens of bitter fruit and something of sparse low trees. ذَلِكَ جَزَيْنَاهُم بِمَا كَفَرُوا وَهَلْ نُجَازِي إِلَّا الْكَفُورَ. And we repay them because they disbelieve, and thus do we repay except the ungrateful. وجعلنا بينه وبين القرى التي باركنا فيها قرى ظاهرة وقدرنا فيها السير يسير فيها ليالي وأيام آمنين. And we placed between them the cities which we had blessed, many visible cities, and we determined between them the distance of journey, saying, travel between them by night or day in safety. 19 فقالوا ربنا باعد بين أسفارنا وظلموا أنفسهم وجعلناهم أحاديث ومزقناهم كل ممزق إن في ذلك لآيات لكل صبار شكور. But they said, the people of Sheba, they said, our lords lengthened the distance between our journeys and wronged themselves, so we made them narration and dispersed them into total dispersion, needing that are signs for everyone patient and grateful. ولقد صدق عليه إبليس ظنه فاتبعوه إلا فريق من المؤمنين. And Iblis had already confirmed through them his assumption, so they followed him except for a party of believers. وما كان له عليهم من سلطان إلا لنعلم من يؤمن بالآخرة وممن هو منا في شك وربك على كل شيء حفيظ. And he had over them no authority except that what was decreed, that we might make evident who believes in the hereafter from who is thereof in doubt, and your Lord over all things is a guardian. 22 قل ادعوا الذين زعمتم من دون الله لا يملكون مثقال ذرة في السماوات ولا في الأرض وما لهم فيها من شرك وما له منهم من ظهير. Say, O Muhammad, invoke those who you claim as deities besides Allah. They do not possess an atom's weight in the heavens or on the earth, and do not have any partnership with Him, nor is there for Him among them any assistant. 23 ولا تنفع الشفاعة عنده إلا لمن أذن له حتى إذا فزع عن قلوبهم قالوا ماذا قال ربهم قالوا الحق وهو العلي الكبير. And intercession does not benefit with him except for one whom He permits. Allah gives chance, and those wait until when terror is removed from their hearts, they will say to one another, what has your Lord said? They will say the truth, and He is the most high and the grand. 24 قل من يرزقكم من السماء والأرض قل الله وإنا أو إياكم على هدى أو في ضلال مبين. And say to them, who provides for you from the heavens and the earth? They say, Allah, and indeed we or you are in either in guidance, or we are in either clear error. We'll find out on the day of judgment who's the true. 25 قل لا تسألون عما أجرمنا ولا نسأل عما تعملون. Say, you will not be asked about what we committed, and we will not be asked about, and we will not be asked about what you do. قل يجمع بيننا ربنا ثم يفتح بيننا بالحق وهو الفتاح العليم. Say, our Lord will bring us together on the day of judgment. He will judge between us with truth, and He is the knowing judge. قل أروني الذين ألحقتم به شركاء كلا بل هو الله عزيز الحكيم. Say, show to me those whom you have attached as partners in this dunya. No, rather He is alone, Allah the exalted and mighty and the wise. وما أرسلناك إلا كافة للناس بشيرا ونذيرا ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. And we have not sent you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, except comprehensively to mankind as a bringer of good tidings and warner from the hellfire. Most of them do not know. ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين. And they ask you, when is this promise of يوم القيامة coming, if you should be truthful. قل لكم ميعاد يوم لا تستأخرون عنه ساعة ولا تستقدمون. Say to them, for you is the appointed day when you will remain thereafter an hour, nor will you precede it. 31 وقال الذين كفروا لن نؤمن بهذا القرآن ولا بالذي بين يديه ولو ترى إذ الظالمون موقوفون عند ربهم يرجع بعضهم إلى بعض القول يقول الذين صدقوا الذين استكبروا لولا أنتم لكنا مؤمنين. And those who disbelieve will never believe in this Quran nor in that before it. But if you could see when the wrongdoers are made to stand before their Lord, refuting each other's words, those who were oppressed will say to those who were arrogant, if it not for you, we would have been believers, referring to the day of judgment, that they will be fighting and arguing with each other because they lost. 32 قال الذين استكبروا الذين صدقوا نحن صددناكم عن الهدى بعد جاءكم بل كنتم مجرمين. Those who were arrogant in this dunya and leaders, they will be saying to the people who were oppressed that, did we stop you from the guidance of Allah after it came to you? Rather, you are criminals, meaning don't blame us, you are to blame yourselves. 33 وقال الذين استضعفوا الذين استكبروا بل مكر الليل والنهار يستعمروننا أن نكفر بالله ونجعل له أندادا وصروا الندامة لما رأوا العذاب وجعلنا الأغلال في أعناق الذين كفروا هل يجزون إلا ما كانوا يعملون. Again, Allah is referring on the day of judgment, these people will be fighting each other and arguing, telling them, those who oppress will say to those who were arrogant, meaning those who oppressed them, they'll say, it was because of your conspiracy of the day and night, and you were ordering us to disbelieve Allah and to attribute partners with Him. But they will all confide regret when they see the punishment, and we will put shackles on their necks of those who disbelieve, and they be recompensed except what they used to do. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا فِي قَرْيَةٍ مِّن نَذِيرٍ إِلَّا قَالَ مُتْرَفُوهَا إِنَّ بِمَا أُرْسِلْتُم بِهِ كَافِرُونَ. And we did not send into a city any warner except that is affluent indeed in that which we were sent are disbelievers. 35 وقالوا نحن أكثر أموالا وأولادا ونحن معذبين. They used to say, the Quraysh of Mecca, we are more than the believers in wealth and channel, and we will not be punished. قل إن ربي يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء ويقدر ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. Say to them, indeed my Lord extends provision for whom He wills, and He restricts to whom He wills, but most of the people do not know. 37 وما أموالكم ولا أولادكم بالتي تقربكم عندنا زلفى إلا من آمن وعمل صالحا فأولئك لهم جزاء الضعف بما عملوا وهم في الغرفات آمنون. And it is not for your wealth nor your children that you can closer to Allah in position, but it is by being one who has believed and done righteousness. For them there will be double reward for what they did, and they will be in upper chambers of paradise and safe and secure. 38 وَالَّذِينَ يَسْعُونَ فِي آيَاتِنَا وَجَاهِدِينَ أُولَٰئِكَ فِي الْعَذَابِ مُحْضَرُونَ. And the ones who strive against our verses to cause them to be failure, those will be brought into punishment on that day of judgment. 39 قل إن ربي يبسط الرزق لمن يشاء من عباده ويقدر له وما أنفقتم من شيء فهو يخلفه وهو خير الرازقين. Say, indeed my Lord extends provision for whom He wills and restricts for whom He wills, but whatever thing you spend in His path, He will compensate it, and He's the best of the providers, meaning He will return everything that you spend in His path many fold. 40 ويوم يحشرهم جميعا ثم يقول الملائكة هؤلاء إياكم كانوا يعبدون. And then mention to them on the day of judgment that He will gather them all and say to them, on the angels, that these people used to worship you. قالوا سبحانك أنت ولينا من دونهم بل كانوا يعبدون الجن أكثرهم بهم مؤمنون. They will say, exalted are you, Ya Allah, our benefactor, not them. Rather, they used to worship the jinn. Most of them are believers in them. 42 فاليوم لا يملك بعضكم لبعض نفع ولا ضر ونقول الذين ظلموا ذوقوا عذاب النار التي كنتم بها تكذبون. But today you do not hold for one another the power of benefit or harm, and we will say to those who wrong, taste the punishment of the fire which you used to deny. 43 وإذا تطلع عليهم آياتنا بينات قالوا ما هذا إلا رجل يريد أن يصدقكم عما كان يعبد آباؤكم وقالوا ما هذا إلا إفك مفترى وقال الذين كفروا للحق لما جاءهم إن هذا إلا سحر مبين. And when our words are recited to them as clear evidences, they say, this is not but a man who wishes to avert you from that which your fathers were worshipping. And they say, this is not except a lie invented. And those who do believe say of the truth which has come to them, thus it is not obvious magic to them. 44 وما آتيناهم من كتب يدرسونها وما أرسلنا إليهم قبلك من نذير. And we had not given them any scriptures that they could study, and we had not sent to them before you, Muhammad, any warner. وكذب الذين من قبلهم وما بلغوا معشار ما آتيناهم فكذبوا رسل وكيف كان نكير. And those before them denied, and the people of Mecca have not attained a tenth of what we have given them, but the former people denied my message, and so how terrible was their return recompense. 46 قل إنما أعظكم بواحدة أن تقوموا لله مثنى فرادى ثم تتفكروا وما بصاحبكم من جنة إن هو إلا نذير لكم بين يدي عذاب شديد. Say, I only advise you one thing, that you stand in front of Allah in pairs or individually, and then give thought. There is not in your companion in any madness, meaning Rasul is not a madman as they accuse him. He's only a warner to you before a severe punishment. 47 قل ما سألتكم من أجر فهو لكم إن أجري إلا على الله وهو على كل شيء شهيد. Say, whatever payment I might have asked you, it is yours. My payment is only from Allah, and He is over all things witness. قل إن ربي يقذف بالحق علام الغيوب. Say, indeed my Lord projects the truth and He's knower of the unseen. 49 قل جاء الحق وما يبدو بالباطل وما يعيد. Say to them, the truth has come and falsehood can neither bring anything nor can it be repeated. 50 قل إن ضللت فإنما أضل على نفسي وإن اهتديت فمما يوحي إلي ربي إنه سميع قريب. Say, if I should err, if I would only err against myself, but if I am guided, it is by what Allah reveals to me. Indeed, He is hearing and near to me. 51 ولا ترى إذ فزعوا فلا فوز وأخذوا من مكان قريب. And if you could see, they were terrified, but there's no escape for them from the punishment, and they'll be seized from a place nearby. 52 وقالوا آمنا به وأن لهم التناوش من مكان بعيد. And they will say, oh, believe in it, but for them will be taking of faith from a place far away. 53 وَاتْكَفَرُوا بِهِ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَيَخْذِفُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ مِنْ مَكَانٍ بَعِيدٍ. And they had already disbelieved in it before in the dunya, and would assault them the unseen from a place far away. 54 وَحِيلَ بَيْنَهُمْ وَبَيْنَ مَا يَشْتَهُونَ كَمَا فَعِلَ بِأَشْيَاعٍ مِنْ قَبْلُ إِنَّهُمْ كَانُوا فِي شَكٍّ مُرِيبٍ. And perversion will be placed between them and what they desire, as was done with their kind before. Indeed, they were disquieting denial. That is the end of Surah Saba. Inshallah, tomorrow we'll start with Surah Al-Fatir, Surah 35. Inshallah tomorrow. Jazakallah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.